evening, everybody. I hope you're doing all well. You're probably thinking, what the hell is going on here? Newcastle Fans TV are live. Let's tune into this. Well, thank you very much. If you're listening on the audio podcast, you know what to do. Give it 5 stars. Come on. This is the first, and hopefully for many more, NUFC Women podcasts. I'm going to be joined by our regular guest doing the Jasmine pose. Can we see him? There he is, Joe. How are you doing, Joe?
I'm doing grand, feeling good as a champion. Fantabby dozy, very excited to get this on the go. People, make sure you like and subscribing and commenting, man. Come on, get it on.
What, the trophy excited to get it going, or
just the whole podcast? But the trophy would be nice too. Like, let's get this. Like, that would be nice as a championship trophy. But let's not get too far ahead of
ourselves.
Like
the Ashes trophy that you win, the urn.
It does, doesn't it? It wasn't a 7-day test though. It was like a whole 9-month procedure that we had to earn this. It wasn't just an easy 1 week and you get a trophy. No, this is long-term stuff. This long-term.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to do any introductions for Joe because everyone knows who Joe is part of NFTV. He's loud at the women's games. You know who he is. But I do want to introduce somebody who some fans might not know who he is, Mr. Michael Corwood, a.k.a. Causy's Travels. Michael, thank you very much for joining. What are you most famous for now in the fan base?
Hello. Thank you very much for having us on, first of all. I think what I'm most famous for is probably the Course Travels. You've already alluded it to. Causey Travels, which went viral last season with all the away fans coaches that I put on. So yeah, I'd probably say that, mate.
Fabulous, absolutely fabulous, and he does a lot of good work, Causey. So unbelievable that the stuff that he puts on for the buses, and without him putting on the buses on, we wouldn't have so many people in attendance at these away days. So a massive credit to you as well. You never know, if my car breaks down one day, I might jump on. But
you're more than welcome.
Thank you very much. Megan, tell us what you do, because you also cover the lasses as well, don't you?
I do, yes. Just this season I started a blog called The Fan in the Stands, and it's now gone off into a podcast, so I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
I seen you had one of our guests, Mr. Joe, on, didn't you?
The legendary Joe. Unfortunately, I performed his song and nearly killed it, so sorry, Joe. I hope I haven't spoiled it for you.
We'll let you off. It was good. I'll get you in backing us up one day when I perform it live.
If I knew that, I would have had that clipped up.
No, don't do that. No, that don't do that.
Causey Airways next season, says Angela. Angela's in the house, one of the regulars on the Newcastle United Facebook fan group. If you're not part of that, please do join it. If you want to get yourself, are you just learning about women's football, this is the channel for you. If you're a regular, nice to see you. You'll see it. You'll know all the faces that are on as well. Michael's having some connection issues. He will come back. But we're going to start with the goalkeeper. And I'll start off with Grace Donnelly. Now, Grace is obviously didn't start the season off. If you remember, it was Hannah who started the first 3 or 4 games, and then there was an injury, and Grace has never looked back since. We'll go around. We'll start with you, Megan. Can you give us your score out of 10, what you would give Grace for the season and the reason behind it?
I'm going to start off strong, and I'm going to give Grace a 10.
Wow.
Yeah, she has kept us, as well as the team has played, she has given us the determination and the strength in terms of quick dispatch, confidence in goal. And yeah, Hannah Reid had a lot of experience, or does have a lot of experience, but Grace seemed to be so calm when we're, looking confident towards the promotion end of the season, and she just didn't waver in that sort of commitment to the game. I think she understands the club and what it means to wear the shirt very well.
Really high score. We're starting off high.
Starting 10. I'm going in.
We're starting off. I'm going to score her a 9. Probably just the fact that I don't think she was tested as much in this league because we had a lot of the ball. But what she did do, in particular, what her strengths are, is communication. And I think she's actually phenomenal at shot stopping and one-on-ones. There was a couple of times during the season where she's bailed it out one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Didn't start the season, Hannah, as I say, and obviously she was rested towards the end of the season just because the league was won. But I'm going to score at a 9. It's a healthy score, and she's been at the club since 2016 or 17. She's the longest serving player. So one of our flying dolphins, as Joe would say. Joe, over at you. What would you score Grace, the captain?
Well, I was going to say for shots alone, if I was to, for shots on target for Grace, you have to give her an 11 because, oh my goodness, that shot on Emma Kelly was fantastic and one of the moments of the season with a snowball. But Goalkeeping ability, the season she's had, obviously gaining the Golden Glove. I think I would agree with you, Lee, and I'm going with a strong 9 for Grace Donnelly. She's been fantastic. Not to speak too negative, but there's been a couple of times where, yes, she may have let her down a little bit, or she's been tested a bit too much in a couple of games, Manchester United, for such. And you can't give her too much stick for that. She has done absolutely amazing. She has come on leaps and bounds since last season. I will go on to say I thought at the very start of the season, I thought we may not see Grace much this season, and she took that first goalkeeping position with force, and she done amazing. That's a 9 from me.
So that gives her an average, and it's very high to start off with, mine. There's going to be some beating here. 9.33. So that is a massive score for Grace Donnelly. Unbelievable. 9.33 for her score. There's going to be some doing to try and beat that, mind, but we have got some stars in the side. So Grace Donnelly, 9.33. We do have a couple of comments. We will drop in every so often to have a look at these as well. Are we live? Yes, Daniel, we are live. You can see your comments. I've just read your name out. We are live on Big Brother. Please do not swear. So we are live. Keep your comments in. I'll pop in every so often whilst they are coming through. Angela's gone on to say two-time Golden Glove winner, which is nice to see. Yeah. Joe, Godfather, Joe's voice can be heard in the last live stream, especially against the Liverpool Feds. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm not that loud in my goat.
On the second podcast, there's a lot of clips of Joe in the background, which you will hear nicely. But we'll move on. I'm going to bring Michael in just a second, because I'll need to reshape him. But Joe, I'm going to let you talk about Hannah Reid.
Hannah Reid. Bit of a shock signing when we pulled her in at the start of the season. I don't think anyone ever expected, especially when she started, I don't think anyone ever expected another goalkeeper to come in and take Grace Donnelly's place so quickly. However, Hannah was able to do that, and she's a goalkeeper who has a lot of different aspects and qualities compared to the likes of Grace Donnelly. I would like to think that Hannah's a bit taller. She's able to get across the goal a little bit easier than what Grace is. She can be a lot more nimble going forward. But obviously she has her downsides as every goalkeeper would. But yes, she's been very interesting to bring in. I think for me, rating Hannah, we haven't seen an absolute mega amount of her. So I'm going to give Hannah an 8. Now, I did have 7.5 down, but I've gone to the higher scale and went for an 8. No 0.5s allowed, so Lee scuppered all my scores and had to redo them right before we started. 8 for Hannah Reid from me.
I'll go with the next one. I'm going to knock it down a little bit, 7, just because the fact she hasn't played enough. What she played, like 5 games in total. 3 at the start, 2 at the end. I think 6 maybe. I think she played the failed one in the cup. But what I like about her, a communicator, especially because you'll know this as well, down Redditch, God, you can hear her a mile off. The constant shouting and bawling, the communication. She's loud on Grace, which surprised me because I can hear a lot more clear on Redditch. But yeah, steady. I don't think there's any problems if she was to come and goal. So if Grace had a long-term injury, I think it's fine. But I'm going to score a 7 just out the fact she didn't play enough. Cozy, welcome back. What would you score her?
Thank you very much. You know, before when you said, what are you famous for? And I said, Cozy Travels. I think I'm going to be famous for dropping off this stream now. Hannah Reid, for me, I caught most of what Joe said there, and I agree. I think her height gives her a great advantage. She is taller than Grace. She played 6 games this season, kept 4 clean sheets. So when you look at the record, it's superb. Obviously, we've got Grace, who's now a 2-time Golden Glove winner, but we've got Hannah Reid, who can come in, as you've mentioned, when or if Grace gets an injury, a suspension, whatever it may be. And we know we've got an able deputy in reserve. For me, I score Hannah a 7 this season.
7, yeah. Megan, what about you?
Oh, I was going to go with a 7, but I agree with what James has said in the comments. She's kind of encouraged Grace to raise her game towards the end of the season in the push for promotion because of her past experience. I think her input was vital, and I think that helped the team a lot. So I'm going to give her an 8 for her performance.
I just love the fact that Megan's interacting with the comments already before.
I'm sorry, I can't help my eyes are like constantly going down to them. I agree with James. I like James's comment.
I like that. I'll bring James' comment up as well.
But James is up.
So, Cozy, have you totaled that up? It's 30.
Yeah, so we've got a lovely 7.5 for Hannah Reid.
Oh, perfect. Right down the middle. A 7.5. I think that's about right. We're in the middle, aren't we? So 7.5. We've both got 2 8s and 2 7s. So Hannah Reid. Scottish. Proper Scottish as well. Hey, laddie.
Yeah, and she's vocal, like you say. You can hear that Scottish accent a mile away on that pitch and in the stands. So,
hey, Lev, get doing that red wing. That is awful. That is absolutely awful. She's going to kill me for that one.
clip that one and play that later.
Yeah, she will kill me. Liam's in the comments in nice bucket hat. Liam's part of the Facebook page on NFTV. I'm trying to find James. There he is.
What James is on.
Putting James's comment on. Look at that. I think bringing Hannah in helped Grace raise her game because of the competition so far alone. Actually get a 7 or so.
Yeah, you said also. That means 8, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, we'll agree to disagree on that. So, please keep your comments coming in. The last one, I'm going. If you guys are all right with this, we'll not score Lily Woods because she's only played 20 minutes, to be honest with you. But a good point about pushing the goalkeepers because she was brought in to do that. But a Northern Ireland internationals who made her debut last season, she's been brought in really for the future, to be honest with you. And it's really how far can she push to be number one. So I'm going to come back to you, Megan, on this. Do you give her, will she become second choice, I think, and maybe give it another year?
See, I was quite shocked when they announced her signing. I couldn't really see a place, especially with Hannah's experience. But I think in terms of the future and looking at younger players coming forward, I do think she has a place in the squad. I'm going to give her, just for the fact she has played and showed confidence in doing so, I think I'm going to give her a 7. For hers.
You want to score then?
I'm scoring her. I'm breaking all the rules. No, I would. Confidence alone. Yeah.
I'm going to just go non-applicable because she's 20 minutes. But Cozy, I'll come to you on this one.
Yeah, like you say, 15, 20 minutes or whatever it was away to Filed in the cup back in January. I think she was brought in with a view to the future. I think the signings they made, they had a vision in mind that they had a championship in mind for next season. That's what we're going for. And obviously we know the rules around academies and reserve squads will change when we get to the championship and the WSL as well. So I think there was probably one eye on that when they brought her in. I don't think she was necessarily signing for now. I think she was definitely signing for the future. And if you look at who we've got in the development squad with young Ellen Valentine, who I think is an outstanding keeper as well, I think if you've got Grace and Hannah with the experience, whether they do or don't bring in the keeper in first team wise, but then if you have like Lily and Ellen, youngsters up and coming, then who knows, they might get their chances in cup games, friendlies, whatever it may be. But definitely one for the future, it seems.
Yeah, Ellen's obviously trained with the first team as well, didn't she? Are you just going non-applicable or you do want to score?
Yeah, I'll go non-applicable. I think for the sake of 15, 20 minutes, it's not really fair to give her a score on that 15, 20 minutes.
Joe?
20 minutes and she kept a clean sheet. That's a 10 out of 10 all day long. No. First out, I just seen Johnny's comment. I'm just letting everyone else talk, Johnny. I'm not shouting over people and stuff, so chill with it, it's all good. Yeah, I agree. Lily, thinking back, was Hannah not injured at the time as well? I'm certain Hannah had been injured at the time.
Hannah played that game, the Filed game.
Yeah, Hannah started in the game off.
The game was won, basically.
That's right. So Lily's definitely someone who you've got to look at for the future. She's from what we've seen as well. You see a lot of the training videos they put on. I noticed James had mentioned that, and she doesn't seem to miss any sort of step. She seems the exact same as what Grace and Hannah would be. She seems capable of doing it. I think when you look at it, you're having 3 goalkeepers who can all step into that number 1 goalkeeper position. It's only going to iron sharpens iron, doesn't it? It's only going to make them all better. Only gives us confidence if anyone does get injured. And I fully agree with Cozy as well, mentioned Ellen Valentine. Not only is Ellen Valentine a fantastic goalkeeper, that lass is absolutely nuts as well. I remember seeing when they won the championship and when they won their championship, their league, and Ellen runs all the way up the pitch for the 3rd goal, and I was like, "What are you doing?" She's absolutely mental. So yeah, Lily though, definitely one for the future. I would like to see what she can do, and hopefully we'll see her feature in the friendlies in the summer. Non-applicable for me as well.
So because Megan's outruled with all, I don't need calculator Cozy over there to realise what the average is there. But Lily Woods, thanks to Meg One, has scored her.
Sorry, I'll listen next time.
You can go against it. That's the whole point of the discussion. I don't just want everybody saying yeah, and agreeing on everything. If you have something to say, that's the whole purpose of debate. But Lily Woods gets a 7, and no doubt she's one for the future, as all of us have just said there. But we'll bring up some of your comments. But I'm going to hand over to Joe, who's going to talk about some defenders for you.
Yes. Obviously, this is the point where everyone's going to get sick of my voice, sick of me shouting and talking about some of the best defence that women's football can see. As you see the comments rolling in the bottom, we're going to start off with one of my favourites and someone who I think is going to go in as, I would say, a non-applicable score. If I had to score her, I would give her an 8, but that's Jodie Bartle. Jodie at the start of the season coming in and filling the role that she did, she was absolutely phenomenal in my opinion, and it was very sad to see her get injured in such a long-term injury, but it's testament to her that she can come back after so long out and hit 90 minutes straight off the bat. Don't know what she did to annoy Becky, but hey, it goes on. Causey, what do you think, Jodie Bartle?
Yeah, so Jodie was one way I wasn't sure if we were going to give her a non-applicable or if we were going to score her. So I did have a score down for her, but I'll not break the rules like Megan. I think she was very unfortunate. She got injured in the Cellar Cup in pre-season at St James Park when we played West Brom. So she missed out at the start of the season then. She then makes her league debut away to Fylde, and then goes and breaks her nose and gets injured then and spends some time out. Then she gets back in the team, gets a couple of games going, and then she goes and gets that nasty back injury and misses the bulk of the season. So I think it was only 7 games when I look back all season. But in those 7 games, I think what an impact she's made. She's become a fan's favourite instantly, a grit and determination on that pitch. She's powerful, she's strong, she's quick. And then, God love her, she takes that injury and she finds kind of something positive out of it by going and joining in with the commentary on the YouTube streams as well. And I don't think there's many of the players who would have had the character to do that as well. So yeah, I think I'm going to score her NA purely because of the injuries, but any of the time, I think she'd easily be in a 7 or an 8 minimum.
Yeah, got to agree there. Definitely great shout out for the commentary. She's been phenomenal on the commentary. Absolute brilliant when I've listened back. Megan, passing over to you. What do you think of Jodie Bartle this season?
I won't score this time, but
Wait.
I think there's 2 types of player that you can have when it comes to an injury. You can have one who looks kind of negatively and lets it impact the season out in terms of frustration, I think. But she certainly didn't do that, and she was the voice off the pitch in terms of inspiration towards those who have something to play for, and she encouraged them to do it. So for that alone, I think that takes great courage to not see it as a setback, but find another way to be involved in the team.
Aye, she's been like another fan, hasn't she, this season? It's hard to see her as a player on the pitch because I'm so used to seeing her standing and shouting at us. Lee, what's your opinions on Jodie Bartle this season?
Yeah, I'd agree, non-applicable, but I think we've got Bernie as our cheerleader for the fans, but Jodie is the cheerleader for the lasses. She's become a fan, and that's what I kind of love her. I love her, me. I think she's like a grown-up Anna Soulsby, if that makes sense. She's a bit on the wild side, but she'll have a bit of fun, she'll have a bit of crack with you, and has a chat with the fans. And I love the fact that she's just dressed in toon gear, like Brunel tops, in like away days and home games, and she's there all the time, and she's become a fan, and I love that. And the fact that when you interviewed her doing Halifax as well, Joe, and she was like, Jodie Bartle, she was giving it and all that. She can play along to it as well, and I think what it is. At her age, she's got a few years left on her still, but there's no doubt about it. She's a personality, and she can go into the media side 100%. But big things from her next season.
She's going to be a big free agent on the media side of things. I think us and Megan will be fighting over getting her on the channel. Like, we'll have to see what happens.
Can I just add something in there about Jodie? Just when you mentioned about kind of being the face of the fans and stuff, I think as well as the commentary, she was huge on social media. She put all her rehab into social media posts on Instagram and Twitter, and it kept that interaction with the fans going. Of what was going on with her injury and how she was rehabbing and things like that. And you mentioned about her being a big fan, like when she's been on the streams and she's seen the war flags in the crowd and she's picked up a black and white waver and she's got it waving around and helping out with displays and stuff like that. She's just like she's become an adopted Geordie, and I remember when she first signed, that video she made when she said she was buzzing to be a Magpie and things like that. And I think as the season's gone on, I think she genuinely is buzzing to be a Magpie. So
She is. She's been amazing. And add that as well. You've got football shirt Saturdays. What unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable. It's been
brilliant.
fantastic. Moving on to another one that obviously if you just want to put a score in, you can. Comments, you can always put your scores in as well. But Daisy Bird, we've only seen her feature for a little bit of time this season. Now, when you look back last season, Daisy Bird was what I think everyone thanked her for the work she'd done. She was an absolute stalwart in the back. Now, she has been loaned out to local club Middlesbrough, joining some of her teammates from last season. And I think she's definitely done a service over in Middlesbrough. So I'm going to say for you, Megan, do you think you see Daisy Bird coming back in the future and becoming a very big player on this Newcastle squad?
Oh, yes, I do. I think for how young she is, a confidence in her own ability is quite pivotal to the team. So whether or not I don't know about her being a consistent feature in the starting lineup, but in terms of being a change in a substitution, I can see her fitting well into that sort of role within the team. She has been a miss. Like you say, she was pivotal last season.
She was huge, definitely massive, massive, massive player. And obviously, you're going to switch over to you, Causey, here as well. Daisy Bird putting into the mix as a England Lioness as well. She's been there. She's done the under 19s, was it? I believe. I
I think so,
mean,
yeah.
that's massive to have on your squad, isn't it? Really. I mean, what do you think that is for the future?
Yeah, I think Daisy's got a really bright future in the game, to be honest. There's quite a few players who we've got on the ranks who have played at England youth level. But Daisy was there before some of these bigger name signings came in with the WSL and the Championship experience. She's played alongside likes of Poppy Pritchard, who went from Durham up to Man City earlier this year. So if she follows in footsteps like that, and she'll be a Championship and WSL player herself before long. I think it was always going to be tough with the signings that Becky made last summer, bringing in the likes of Jodie and Nom. You had the likes of Liv Watt returning from injury, and the change of formation with Becky going three at the back. Daisy's more of an out and out fullback, and she can play on that kind of right side of midfield as well. So I think our versatility will play into our favour as we go up the leagues. Whether or not she's brought back as maybe an academy reserve player with the changes to the squad types next season, but I think she's definitely one who can push for a place in the future. She may even be sent out on loan again. We never know. But I definitely see Daisy having a bright future at this club.
Yeah, I definitely see her going forward. Obviously, Lee, you've seen a lot of Daisy Bird at this club, and I know you're quite a big fan of her. What's your opinions on Daisy Bird getting loaned out in such a season?
I would give her a non-applicable first.
I would give her a non-applicable.
Right.
I don't think anyone's willing to put a score in there because, again, she
Okay.
hasn't had a lot of time, has she?
Just think I'll stick the banner on for people that are watching on visual. I do agree, of course. I think the three at the back killed her. I think if we played a four consistently, regularly, I think she'll feature more. But because of obviously what Causey's just literally said, she has suffered, unfortunately. And the thing is, with the TR3, you can only name 5 subs as well, so she's not going to get many game times. But good spell at Middlesbrough. Obviously, they were flying. Half of them are ex-Toon players anyway, but big things next season, yeah. And in her first season, she was incredible for me. She's one of the best players on the pitch throughout the season, despite her age. And she did keep Poppy Pritchard quiet in that freezing game at Kingston Park when we won 1-0. That big game against Durham, but big things of her.
Definitely huge things coming from such a young lass. Now we'll get into some scores here, and Causey has already touched upon this young lady. Well, I thought obviously younger than she was, 24 years of age. Olivia Watt. What a player, no pun intended, Olivia has been this season. Lee, I'm going to start with you. You know how much I rant and rave with Olivia Watt. I'm going to score Olivia Watt a 10 because she is one of my contenders for player of the season. She has been incredible. Lee, what's your score? What's your opinion on Olivia Watt?
I have to match that. I think she has been absolutely sensational. 10 out of 10. It's got to be. She doesn't get beat, and she does it like calm and. Do you know even when she's like got her back towards the player in a corner flag, or she gets out of it? She doesn't panic. She doesn't kick it away. She like plays away. I think she's so calm and like I don't think she gets. I only think this season really that she's got plaudits from the fan, but I want it to be more. Maybe because she hasn't got that personality where she's like like a Jodie Bartle for example. She's not like out there and all of that and unbelievable and you know, she could play anywhere. She'll play left back, centre back, right back, and she'll do a job. Obviously, I can't sing out enough praises. She's just, do you know what it reminds me of? It's just a defender who loves to defend, a passion.
Yeah.
But you can just see it, and you can see how she performs, and it's simple, but the simple things that she does is so well. I have to score her 10 as well. She's a contender for player of the season, without doubt.
Yep, without doubt. Causey, Olivia Watt, what's your say?
So I've been doing a bit of stat digging in the build up of this.
Hello, Matt.
That will be watch.
more
Now you've got
games
someone
than
coming after
anybody
you.
else in the team this season. So out of the 32 games we played this season, she started 28 of them. And I think that might surprise some people. They maybe would have expected like Grace Donnelly, maybe Potsy, Amber even to be the leader in those stats. But Olivia Watt started 28 games this season. I think she's the epitome of consistency and reliability. And I find it difficult to score players at 10. I really do. I think 10 signifies perfection, nothing done wrong, no room for improvement. So I was borderline between a 9 and a 10 in this one, but I am going to give her a 10. I'm going to match what you have said. I think she's been absolutely incredible. When we played Man United away in the Cup, she was hands down the best player on the pitch. And up against WSL and Champions League level opposition, I think although we got beat 5-0 on the day, very little of the threat came down that right-hand side. So yeah, for me, she's I'm going to score her a 10. And just a quick shout out as well. I don't know if any of us were at Hibs in pre-season, but she scored an absolute worldie from about 35 yards. So that probably puts her into the 10 category as well.
Would have liked to seen that. Where was that? States, aye.
Aye, it would have been in America. I hadn't
Can,
joined the
can I
family
ask, because someone is asking a question, and I don't know if Megan's has seen it. Do you have a sister?
I'm a twin, but I don't know. She wouldn't have a clue what she's talking about with football. So no, I don't.
Fair enough.
So there's two Megans rolling
There's
about.
two
People who look
Megans.
exactly
Sorry,
like Megan.
I'll break it to you now. There's two of them
That's
going.
not good. That's not good. No, fantastic. Megan, Olivia Watt. Howard, and what's your say on Olivia Watt this season? Is she a 10 out of 10 like the rest of us? Are you going to go against her again? Feel free to.
I don't want to be the only one. No, this season, I mean, sitting in the crowd, you always pick up certain names, and her name has been one of the ones that has drawn me attention because it's screamed quite a lot. She's definitely a fan's favourite. And it's brought it to my attention because I'm ashamed to say she went under the radar maybe last season a little bit, but this season she's been so, I would describe her play as silky smooth. She's not shy to back out of a tackle, to play the pass through. She's definitely confident in her own ability. I think she might have been injured at some point.
Full season.
She missed last season.
Yeah. So
to come back, to come back and then perform like that. Poof.
It's amazing, and that's why I would agree with you and give her what our scoring, aren't we, for Olivia?
Yes, we are.
Just 10. Checking. Yeah, 10.
I think
definitely.
That's
unanimous.
Score so far.
For the
10,
comeback,
isn't it?
Yeah, comeback alone.
I think that's very fair for someone who's such a strong contender for player of the season. Olivia Watt, you truly are a belter, and you are our first, maybe the only, 10 out of 10 full scoring. So, to move on to another person who I think could well contend Olivia Watt for player of the season. I'm sure you all know the one, the only, Charlotte Potts. I've got to look at Charlotte Potts this season, and when we're looking at some of the clips, when we're setting up for the podcast and such mainly, I believe Potsy's only made maybe one mistake this whole season. And that was in a position where it couldn't get deemed offside, and she let the attacker go forward a little bit. These things happen. Potsy has been the exact same as she was last season. She may have been maybe outshadowed a little bit because of how much she stood out last season. And then this season she had more players who are much more up to the scale and level she was. But for me, Potsy is another one who I have to give a 10. Megan, Charlotte Potts, what's your say?
If Charlotte come running towards me and I was on the other position, I would give her the ball straight away. She flies in with so much determination. She's got no fear. She's got the experience, and I think that's shown this season. She's been the voice. You talk about other players being vocal on the pitch, but she has definitely been the voice of reason and calm. And I think her presence has been absolutely massive this season. A solid 10. I don't know why she hasn't had the captain's armband more. She's one of those for me, a figure that you can spot from a mile off, that she's got the confidence, and I think she's been amazing this season. 10 for me.
Yeah, totally agree. Another 10 could be a contender here for it. Causey, going off the back of what Megan said there, what's your say?
So the captain's armband thing, since you've mentioned it, Megan, it's a bit of a
Yeah,
funny
go on.
one. I don't know if you had noticed, but
Aye.
there's times where Grace has been captain if Amber's been missing.
Yeah.
Grace and Potty have both gone to the centre circle for the
I can tell you
referees.
why.
thing.
I can tell you why.
Why is that?
Because the referee needs an outfield player to speak to.
Hmm.
That was the reason we asked after when we interview them. We asked
Yeah.
them, why is Potty? That's twice we've seen that now. It's because when the referee blows anything like discipline or free kicks or anything, instead of keep running all the way to Grace,
Oh.
he's got an outfield player who's nearby.
Right. Okay. Is
Well,
that a women specific rule? Because I don't think I've ever
know.
seen that in the men's game.
When I first seen it, was well like, what's going on there?
Yeah,
I thought
it's
they were
caused
just arguing.
confusion, I must say. We've just questioned why both Potty and Grace go to the centre circle, but oh well, there we have it. I think when Potty came in last season, I think for me, she was player of the season then. She was the one who solidified that defence. It was a very young defence with the injuries that we had to Liv Watt, to Ellen Packham, there was someone else as well, Grace Boyes last season. I think 3 or 4 of that back line had nasty knee injuries and spent the season out. So Potty came in and helped shore up what was a very young and inexperienced defence. I think this season she's carried on and she's got those same standards. She expects 100% every game. You know, she very rarely loses a battle in the air, on the ground. She's quick, she's strong, she drives us forward. I'm going to go against the grain though, and I'm going to give Potty a 9.
Oh,
Only
no.
because
Kick
feel
him
that-
off.
Ernie's coming for you, Causey.
Oh, I hope you're ready for that.
She's
I
coming for
feel
you.
that
That
Liv
drum is going over your
has
head.
been a little bit more of a stronger presence in the sense of a consistency, and we mentioned it earlier, but the way Liv Watt went under the radar a little bit. I think with Potty, we've come to expect it. We just know what her standards are, and we know what we're going to get from Potty week in, week out. Last season, absolutely, she was player of the season. But this season, I'm giving her a 9.
Fair. Well, I mean, I'm not agreeing with him, not fair, but hey, you know, we've got to have a opinion. Lee, so are you going to bring Potty back up to that close to the 10 number, or what? What's your say?
Of course I am. I love Potty. I think the fact that it's mad because her mum's polar opposite to what she is. Like Charlotte's
Yeah.
quite calm and takes it in, whereas Ma's like on your heat, which is mad. She's just absolutely nuts, and I think she's just fine with me saying that. Dressing up every week, and it's good. And she's like I say, it's a cheerleader. But I think just the way that she performs is like she could easily play in centre midfield and be 8 or 9 out of 10 every week. She's that good on the ball, and she's a goal scoring defender. You got to remember she scores like 4 or 5 every season. I think she's just incredible, and you know she can go around a defender, and I say like she's different to Liv Watt, but Potty probably does it a little bit more classier, the way she can go around and spin around a defender and then, you know, ping a ball 30 yards. She's got that in her locker. But I think her stats literally showing her career when she plays, her win ratio is something like 85% upwards, which is just mental for stats wise. And I think she's got no problems whatsoever playing in the championship at all. She'll fit in easily. So I don't know I'm too thick to realise what the average score is, Causey. So
So we've got a 10, a
no,
10, a 10 and a 9.
9.75.
Oh,
Although I'm
second
laughing at
high.
James in the comments saying Lee, give Potty an 11 to get it back up to a 10.
Yeah. I agree with James.
Well done, James. Well done. We wish it could be. That was very close for Charlotte Potts. Now, jumping on to Angela Brady's comment as well. Angela, we have to get you onto this podcast sometime as well. That is a plug for the future. Everyone, shout out Angela in the podcast. You know what I mean? So, Kira Skelton. Obviously, Kira had our whole season curbed by an injury. However, we're seeing a lot of Kira Skelton last season, and we know Charlotte Potts really talked about how she liked having Kira there. She absolutely adores Kira and takes her under her wing a lot. Kira Skelton, is she one for the future? Causey, What's your say?
Absolutely. I think she's very much in the mould of Daisy Burt. I think if she was fit this season, it might have been a bit of a similar situation where would she fit in that back three that we played for much of the season? I see her as more of an out and out left back. But again, I think she's absolutely one for the future. I think it's testament to her ability when she was voted player of the season. I think was it manager's player of the season she got last year, or players
Yes,
player of
yes.
the season?
One
It
of
was
the
managers.
players are
One of
managers.
those, and I think for her to come in, because Jane Harlan was another one who suffered a serious injury last season. So Kiva Skelton came in and played the whole season at left back, and she looked like a seasoned pro. And I think this could have been a season where she really kicked on. Cruel injury, which is sadly part of the game. But I think again she's got a massive future ahead of her, and I hope it's with us as well because she's got a lot of talent.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with you there, Cozy. Megan, Kira Skelton, what you saying about Kira Skelton? Is she one for the future? Is the one that can you see her in the squad permanently?
I can see her coming on and making an impact. In terms of fitting in alongside Charlotte, yeah, they did have a good partnership, and obviously they looked out for each other. But I feel like she would be one who would make a change if we were inclined, if we needed a sudden impact in the game if we're fighting and chasing the game. A hell of a player. It's unfortunate that that injury happened to her, but yeah, I can see her coming on and making an impact if it was needed, but maybe not from the start. I don't want to sound too harsh, but yeah, she's quite a player.
I think that's fair. I think that's very fair. Lee, Kira Skelton. You've seen a lot of Kira Skelton.
Yeah, non-applicable. We all agree with that. So I can put it
Yep,
on
definitely.
screen. Yeah. I'm going to say something that you might not agree with. If Kira Skelton didn't pick up that injury, we don't sign Leah Cataldo.
Oh, okay.
I've got to agree.
Because she'll play there. She can play that left centre-back role. And when we're in possession, sometimes we have one at the back. Sometimes, not all the time, but one or two. Maybe Liv and Potsy. But if Potsy goes on a rampage, and she has done that once or twice, we've got one person at the back. So I think she can easily fill in that left centre-back role and then it alternates to left-back in possession, like Leah Cataldo has. I don't think we'll sign Leah if Kira is fit. But yeah, absolutely incredible. Won an award last season, her and Daisy, the two full-backs. So young as well, and I'm surprised she didn't get an England youth call-up, how well she was playing. Such a talent as well, left-back, right-back, and she's filling a centre-back, even though she's quite small and diminutive, but hopefully there's a bright future for her. Whether we change to a back four, I would have probably think so next season because of the quality that we're up against, but yeah, not applicable for me.
One thing just to say about Kira Skelton is this whole season, despite her being injured, I'm not sure that she's missed many, if any, away games supporting the rest of the
I have
team.
seen her, yeah.
Yeah, she's always come down with her dad and she's always been their supporting team. And I think that just shows how invested she is in the squad and in herself. So moving on, another one who was injured. When you look back at this, now we've ran down the list, we've faced a lot of injury issues this season with defence, and we've done well to keep such a low goal deficit, I think. So one who I think has been absolutely brilliant when we've seen her. I think if she had have been here the whole season, she would have been a player of the season contender, and that is one of my favourites. You see her name in the background there, number 20, Naomi Badeau. Now, I want to try and say non-applicable. However, if you guys want to chuck a score in for Naomi, I will weigh in on that because I do have
I think you have to score. She's played about 20 games, surely.
If this is the case, then Naomi Badeau, I am giving Naomi an 8, simply because of the game time that she did miss due to the injury, and she didn't get into the full swing. Outside of that injury, she was solid. Megan, Naomi Badeau, are you as high on Naomi Badeau as me?
Yes. Before her injury, she was I would describe her as a silent assassin. She's not the silent assassin. She's not the most vocal, but when you give her the ball, she just seems to work it out in her head and communicates with others what she's going to do before she's even done it. She's got that grit, and I feel like she's been a pivotal figure on the pitch, and even after her injury, she's never given up, and she's been talking to fans, and she's been honest about setbacks and things. So for me, she's a great character. You can tell she's brought a lot of difference into the squad. Positivity.
Do you give her a score?
I'm gonna give her an 8.
an 8 as well. That's 2 8 straight for that. Causey, off the back of that, you've seen a lot of Naomi Badou. She does a lot of interacting with the fans. What's your score, if you've got one, and what's your opinion on Naomi?
Yeah, she definitely gets a score. 17 games this season, probably more than what people realise. But yeah, quite a chunk of time missing through injury, unfortunately. But what a character. Again, she's one who, when she has been injured, she's been there at away games. She's been there in the crowd. I remember being down at Burnley and she rocked up with Jodie and she was sat a couple of rows behind us and they were waving black and white flags and they were chatting and singing along. So a wonderful person and absolutely fantastic player on the pitch. It's probably going to sound harsh, but this is only because of the injuries. I would give her a 7. But again, that is purely just because of the injuries. I think when she's played, she's arguably been a 9 most weeks. But for the longevity of the season, over the course of the season, because of the injury setbacks, I'm going to give her a 7.
Ooh, I'm not happy with that one either, Causey.
He's
First
kind
pot.
of messaging private.
No. We're having a chat after this one. I tell you what's going on. Lee, however, bring it back for Naomi Badou, my absolute baller. What you seeing?
I'll match you 8. If she was fully fit, I would give her 9 because I think she's never made a mistake. When she first signed, it took a few games to get in. Then when she was in, funny enough, that left centre back role which we were talking about just before, she was playing a lot there as well. And she only got injured just a couple of weeks before that Burnley game, I think. So late January, early February, wasn't it? But
yeah,
absolute colossus. Signing another player from a higher division, centre back, left back, and probably could do a job at right back. To be honest with you, I know she hasn't played there, but so calm, and her personality is quite calm as well. She's not like a big shout or anything, but you're right. She speaks to the fans. The amount of times that she's spoken to me, to use, and it's just one-on-one, and has that time. And her dad's a bit of a character as well. But yeah, I'll score an 8. I think it's just been outstanding for me. But because of the injuries, I'll knock her down to 8.
I like it.
Obviously,
Causey, do you have a rundown of the numbers there?
7.75.
All right. High off, Causey didn't let her down. But anyway, moving swiftly on. One last player in the defensive, and I just want to bring this in by giving a massive shout out to Jamie and Dan for creating this absolute masterpiece. It's Lee Cataldo. C-A-T-A-L-D-O. It's Lee Cataldo. Leah was absolute star signing. It is hard to compare her to anyone else who came in January because of how amazing she was. So, that said, I personally give Leah Cataldo, I know this is quite high. Well done, Dan, in the comments there. A 9. I give Leah Cataldo a 9. Causey, what you saying about Cataldo?
I mean, if we're chatting that based on, if we're scoping that based on chance rather, it's got to be a 10 out of 10. But I'd agree with you. I'm going to give Cataldo a 9. I think she's came in and that championship experience, I think, has shone through. At a time where with defence was looking, I wouldn't say with defence was looking shaky, but we were lacking depth in that defence. We've had the likes of Amber and Hannah had to fill in there at times. Daisy went out on loan. Kira's been injured. Your defensive options, if you look at it, were a little bit scarce coming into the new year. And when you want that final push for promotion and to get that next level, I think the signing of Leah was incredibly important. And I don't think I can recall her putting a foot wrong in the few months that she's been here. So absolutely, I think one for the future, one who's possibly one of the first names on the team sheet next season as well. And I think for me, she's a 9 out of 10 this season.
Yeah, got to agree. I do see her being a massive player for her in the next years coming, especially next season. Megan, what's your opinion on Leah Cataldo and what you're scoring her for this season? Well, for this half season.
I'm giving her a solid 10. I'm going in. I'm giving 10s like Bruno on Strictly, but I think I think Leah Cataldo has been absolutely amazing, like solid. And those runs that she makes are just unstoppable. And that's why some of the other teams in the league, have struggled to keep up with her pace. I think once she gets forward, there's no stopping her, and all the other players can just work out what she's going to do. I don't know what she's done in such a short space of time, but whatever it is has worked really, really well. And when she's on the ball, I just feel comfortable that we're going to get something from the attack, or at least get into their half when we're looking a bit stuck. She's just given the answers all the time. 10 from me.
One thing just to add to 10 from Len. Just one thing to add to that as well before we pass on to Lee for Leah Cataldo's score. It's a player who I find is very, very, very jolly. You can tell she loves what she does. She's always smiling. Lee, what's your score? And are you going to be as high rated as Megan? What's happening?
First, she looks too much like Alicia Body when they're together. And I think try to copy each other quite a lot. And I've seen a video on Instagram that was like, what's going on there? They share the same agency as well, which is mental. But Leah Cataldo, 9. I don't think she's a full 10, but I do like the fact that Megan made a great point that when she's going up that left wing, it does allow Barker just to go in them little pockets, which is really clever at doing when we're in possession. And I think that's where Katie's got on the end and allowed her the freedom to go and get in the box and score a couple of headers and stuff. But yeah, breath of fresh air. Originally, I thought she was a right back, but you know, right-footed left back, if you want to call it that, left centre back, because we transition when we're in possession. But absolutely fantastic. But you have forgotten a defender, Joe.
Have I?
Grace Boys.
My goodness, I have. Grace Boys,
What,
apology.
Grace?
We had a fantastic photo together as well, and I have left you out. Grace,
you've had a photo with her.
We had a great time. Sorted we're here out together and everything. It was fantastic. Grace Boys.
Shocking that, Joe.
Well, I haven't seen it. I know, guys.
9.75? Is that right?
9.25.
Oh,
close. 9.25.
We'll leave it at 7, shall we? Leave it at 7.
Leave it at 7.
Going on then, I have forgotten Grace Boys. Grace Boys, we have not seen Grace Boys featuring this season majorly at all. However, she's been featured on the bench a couple of times. She has certainly been a personality we've seen out and about. Megan, what are you thinking of Grace Boys?
Yeah, I would like to see more of her. It is frustrating, but I do worry that maybe that's a sign that there's no way of her fitting into the side. But when she does, she certainly has room there for improvement, and I feel like she should be given more of a chance. I think she's made a name for herself at the club, and she definitely looks comfortable, like she belongs when she's on the pitch.
Yeah. Got to agree with that one. Causey, you've seen a lot of the development teams, so you would have seen Grace Boys feature a lot. So I'm going to bring you in on this one. What's your opinion on Grace Boys?
Probably slightly biased because I've known Grace for a few years. She's coached Rosie and things like that. But trying to take the bias hat off, she's not the one who was incredibly harshly done by last season. Suffered a horrible ACL injury just a week before the season began, which completely wrote her off for all of last season, which was awful. But to come back this season, I think, again, with the signings that were made, we've touched on this with Daisy as well, but with the signings that were made, I think it was going to be tough for her to get consistent game time. Having said that, she's done outstanding in the Devs. She's been a regular player for the Devs this season, and they're charged the title. And when she has played in the first team, she's done a job. She's made a few sub appearances. She started at Mancunian Unity in the cup as well. Yeah. And I think she got a full 90 minutes there, if I remember rightly, as well.
Chorley, she came off the bench as well.
Say that again, sorry?
Chorley away in the cup she played as well.
Chorley is away, yes, that's right. So when called upon, she's done a job. I think it's been a difficult season because of the defenders who were ahead of her. But then having said that, when I touched on it earlier about the lack of depth, it would have been nice to see her get some more game time. Probably comes down to the fact that, you know, Lee, you touched on it, but the 5 substitutes rule, you know, you're limited as to how many subs you can put on. If there was 7 or 9 available, we'd probably see some more of these players this season. But the fact that there's only 5 can be named, I mean, there's games where we don't even name a second goalkeeper on the bench, so you've got to really make some tough decisions as to who makes that cut. But Grace, I've got a lot of time for her, and I think she's someone who's got a bright future in the game, and hopefully we'll see more of her next season.
Hopefully. And obviously, big shout out to Grace for coaching a future amazing star in Rosie. What a belt as Grace. You must be blessed. Lee, what's your opinions on Grace Boys?
Got my cat trying to get on camera. That's why I'm doing that. You know, taking the screen, like, put her off. It's like a Zoom to Ferdinand to sleep, actually.
Shock.
Yeah, non-applicable. It has to be. I think we're all in agreement with that because she just hasn't played. But there's only 2 players that have come from the devs into the first team, which is obviously Grace, Boys, and Jazz. So the rest
Which,
of all, they've all came from Sunderland or RTC and what have you, and bought and what have you. But there's only 2. But it's injuries, isn't it? It's a killer. Look at Kira. It can kill a season off just like that. And she has played a couple of times in competition, as Cozy said, is tough. Just hopefully she gets more game time. Obviously, the devs are obviously going elite, moving up as well, so that might help 1 or 2 players get a little bit more game time in a better competition, but not applicable for me.
yeah, fully agreed on Grace, boys. So we'll go through a couple of your comments on the bottom of the screen. Keep your eyes out, but we're going to throw it back to Lee here for the midfielders. And I believe, Lee, are you taking the right wing as well?
I'll take centre mid and right wing, and I'll let Joe come back and do the left wing and strikers at the end.
I think that's keeping me away from a certain winger, I think, because I might score that one a bit too high, yeah? Wonder who?
Let's start with, I'm going to come to Cozy on this. Tell me about Alicia Body and your score.
What a talent. What a talent Alicia Body is. I think, is she 19? She certainly was 19 when she signed. I don't know if she's still 19 now, but the way she moves across that pitch, the vision, the creativity, she always seems to be 1 or 2 moves ahead of everybody else. She drops into that pocket in midfield. I like to think of her as like a quarterback. She just drops deep and then she just pings that ball 50, 60, 70 yards across the pitch. I think she's been a crucial player, and I think she was a player who we missed at the start of this year as well. We went through a little bit of a rough patch when we lost that game to Nottingham Forest. And I think her presence in midfield was massively missed in that game. And I think if she had played, I think there's an argument that we would have went the season unbeaten. That's how vital to the team I think she is. She's close to a 10 out of 10, but I'm going to go 9. 9 out of 10 for Alicia Body.
Yeah, had a bit of an injury, didn't have the knee problem that she had towards the
Yeah.
end, but came back. Joe, I'll come to you.
Oh, Alicia Body, phenomenal. You can tell that is a person who is going to be a household name with the Lionesses, maybe very, very soon. She is going to come on leaps and bounds. You can see there is a star hidden inside her. However, I do stress that, hidden inside her. She has been phenomenal for us when Alicia Body's been coming onto the pitch in the second half. She's been a fantastic second half player, which is no slight. I know a lot of people go, well, you should be able to play a full 90 minutes. Sometimes these players are fantastic just coming on in the second half. I really want to highlight for me personally, one of the big points of our season was when she had that I believe it was her left knee taped up heavily, and she was still putting in some of her best performances of the season while she was taped up and while she was slightly carrying a knock. For me, Alicia Body has been absolutely crucial and is a strong 9.
9 and a 9. Megan?
Littlest shin pads in the league.
Oh, you were
Oh.
going to... I was going to come back to the Jack Grealish.
I'm sorry. Yeah, she's littlest shin pads, and I don't know if she even wears them, but they're tiny. But
Can I put in? Did you see the bit where she always wears her shirt untucked?
Oh,
But then
yeah.
Halifax away, she had it actually
Okay.
tucked in, and then all the lasses were commenting on her Instagram saying, "Ooh, fashion icon" and all this stuff. I thought it was hilarious.
I still think, even though she did, like Joe said, she did have the knee injury, I would rate her a 9 because she never gave up, and she so badly wanted her place in the squad. And I think, although it could be detrimental, it didn't affect her season because she kept going and she treated it well and she paced herself. And I think that shows the kind of player she's going to be, rather than just saying, listen, I'm injured, I can't make any impact, and sort of go off her treatment. She found a way and kept playing, and I think that shows she's grown as the season's gone on, and I've become more confident in seeing her, even though she is so young. Sometimes you can be mistaken in thinking she's wise before her eyes. I think she's a really good player, definitely.
I think she's quality. Maybe she should add more goals to our next season because I think in particular, probably the first half of the season, we relied on her quite heavily, and in the second half, Hannah Greenwood started to shine, and McKelly was getting more control of the season, of the game, the ball. Jazz obviously was coming in, so we didn't miss out as much because others were stepping up. But she is absolute quality, and there's no doubt about it. Her trajectory, and she's and I like the fact that she says, "I want to play for England."
She's honest.
There's no hiding about it. It's like, oh, I want to get the next level, and now I want to play for England. I like that. I like that mentality. But yeah, absolutely brilliant player.
And
Unbelievable.
how good would that be as well if we can say that we've got a lioness now in Newcastle squad? Because I don't think it's going to be long before we do say that, and I think she's arguably going to be the one to do it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm clever enough to realise we're all scoring 9, so it's straight down the middle for that one, a 9 out of 10. Hannah Greenwood. For me, she's over the course of the season. I'll start with Hannah actually. Over the course of the season, she's the most improved as the season's gone on. For me personally, came in from Durham, had a spell at Sestra as well, because obviously Durham's the parent club, and didn't get in straight away. She was on the bench a few times. I think she picked up a red card, and I seen her devastated actually when she got that red card, and then. It was around, correct me if I'm wrong, late November, early December. She got into the side and never looked back. And Becky absolutely loves her. There's a reason why I think Becky picked her as her player of the season, didn't she? Or was it I can't remember which one it was. But
Yeah,
picked up player, and it's unbelievable. Just versatility. It's consistency. Whether she's playing defensive midfield or she's dropping into defence, is the centre back or the right centre back, and it's just again. I said this earlier with Liv Watt. The simple things she does so well, and she's not a flash player, but she stands out still because the simple things she does is such a high standard, massively underrated. So I'm going to score her. I'm going to go 9. Got to. Megan, I'll come to you.
I think she's the most unnoticed player in the league this far. She's been it's harsh because when I was watching her after the Luton game, she was really upset, and I thought to myself, do you know what it is? You have made a difference this season, and sometimes it can go unnoticed because of the bigger names and bigger personalities, but she's never given up, and I really like that about her. Players just consistent. When she's being brought on, she's being confident in what she's doing, and she's rock solid as well. She's definitely shown up a few players in different teams in this league. I would give her. I'm happy to give her an 8. Yeah. I think if she had been featured more, it would have been higher, but because she wasn't, she's never given up in terms of getting her name back on there. So,
of course, he's not happy with you. I'll let Causey speak now.
Oh God, what have I done?
You've done nothing. We've all entitled to our opinions. I'm just going to say straight off the bat, I think she's a 10. She is
I would agree when she's starting to become a regular.
Yeah.
I would say a 10. But because she wasn't, I'm going to just peg her down. But sorry, carry on.
It's all right. I think for me, she's my unsung hero of the season.
Ooh,
I think she's gone. It's already been mentioned, but she's gone under the radar, and she does all of the dirty work. The amount of ground that she covers in a game is phenomenal. You look right and we're in defence, and then next thing you know, you look left and she's in the box, getting on the end of a header or a corner or whatever it may be. I think. Yeah, she just goes unnoticed. She can play right back, centre back, left back. She can play midfield. She can drive with forward, and she covers every blade of grass. And again, I think barring that red card, which was against Burnley or Stoke earlier in the season.
Early on, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very early in the season. It was 2 yellows, and I remember at the time there was a lot of confusion. No one really knew what the second yellow was for. A lot of people didn't even realise she'd been booked earlier in the game. But barring that sending off, I can't think of anything she's done wrong this season. And like I say, she goes unnoticed. She does the dirty work. She's a 10 for me.
But what does she have to do to get noticed? If she's done all that and still earning a little bit of title of going under notice, what?
I don't mean unnoticed by me. I think unnoticed by maybe other fans in the crowd. So I
think the opposition don't know. The opposition fans would notice that.
Underestimate.
Yeah, underrated.
Yeah, I think sometimes the type of player she is, and we've seen it in football for years. The flair players, the skillful players, the ones who score goals or create chances, are the ones who get the plaudits. How many times has a striker won the Ballon d'Or over the years? I think players like Hannah, who play in a more defensive and a more reserved position, don't always get the credit and plaudits, and that's just part and parcel of the game of football. But for me, I certainly notice it, and I think she's a 10 out of 10 without a doubt.
Incredible. You mentioned that red card. We were having her around getting some interviews, and she was visibly upset. Not because she got the red card, because she misses the next game.
Yeah.
It's mindset. That's all it is. Mindset, because she's fearing that she might lose her place again. Joe, final say.
I'm glad that I was the final say. I thought you were going to put me in before Cozy, and I was going to say I want to hear Cozy first because I wanted to see if anyone else said the things that I was thinking. And Cozy, thank you so very much. Not only for me is Hannah Greenwood my unsung hero of the season, she is also my personal player of the season. And also go off Megan's question, how does she get noticed? This is the thing. The type of player Hannah Greenwood is, to mirror exactly what Cozy said, she's an off-the-ball player who puts impact in. A ball gets pinged to a certain part of the field. Hannah's there. Maybe she's not taking control of it, but she's knocking it down and it's going into the position of Emma Kelly, who then passes it on to Paige Bailey-Gale, who puts a goal in. Or she's running back to a position that's got a defender out of place because they've ran up to make an attack. Brilliant attack as well by Olivia Watt. And Hannah's there covering her position. She's doing stuff that we don't look at. You watch the ball, don't you? Yeah, of course you do. You don't watch the players off the ball. You miss the positions. The last couple of days, I've spoke to Hannah a little bit. And one thing, and I'm pretty certain she wouldn't mind me saying this, I said, I have been shocked not to have seen you in the striker or the goalkeeper position this season. And she said, I would happily play the goalkeeper position too. This is a player who is an absolute stalwart. She is going to be so important next season, and she is going to stay unnoticed. She is, and I do not mind that one bit because she is fantastic at doing that. Keep her as a little stealth player. 10 from me as well. Without doubt, my player of the season. Unreal Hannah Greenwood.
So much passion.
Oh, she's the best. I told her, I said she's the best Greenwood in football by miles. Like, I think she is fantastic.
She's the best Greenwood, period.
Yeah, all day long, all day long.
Hi, Johnny, if you're watching.
Oh, yeah, she's much better than Jonathan, without doubt.
What's the average there?
That is a 9.5 for Hannah Greenwood.
Oh, that's high. That's quite high. I think that's the third or fourth high so far.
I believe so, yes.
Hannah Greenwood gets a very, very high score of 9.5. Couple of 10s in there. So nice to see. The next one, Cara Milne Redhead, who was a rotated player, you'd probably say, until she got a loan out to Norton. Still really young. Very young. She's, 21, 22. Scores a good free kick, mind, put it that way. But this is probably going to be my lowest score so far, because I do think we still need to score her, because she did play a few games, albeit from the bench, start a lot of the cup games. I'll score her at a 7. I'll start with it. I'll score her at 7. Don't think in particular she stood up and goes, God, you got to get her out of the team. She's awful. No, I think she's quiet about her job, quiet personality, can fill in anywhere across midfield. It doesn't matter where it is, right wing, centre midfield, which is our prime, defensive, even at 10. Probably do a job on the left. I'll score at 10. Needed game time, because that's what she wanted, headed out. And hopefully she kicks on pre-season, gets knocking on Becky's door, but I'll score 7. I'll cut with Joe for this one.
Cara Milne Redhead. I love seeing a rocket shot. It's one of the big reasons why I like Lauren Robson at Newcastle United. However, yes, talking about Cara, I think she's one of those players who you look towards the future. Right now, you could probably pick little holes in her game. Maybe she doesn't dribble it far enough. Maybe she loses the ball a little bit too quickly, but she has amazing pace. She has amazing positioning. She is fantastic with a strike. I could well see her being a phenomenal regular corner taker who was able to ping the ball straight to someone's head. For me, though, because of the time that we've seen her on the pitch, and because I know she's a player who's going to be a future star, and I hope it's at Newcastle United, I'm going to agree with Lee, and I am going to give Cara a 7, probably my lowest score as well. But that is not taken away from how amazing this lass is going to be. She is phenomenal. I love the rocket shots. Keep it up, Cara.
Still got to remember, 7's still a good score.
Oh, yeah.
Megan.
I was quite gutted when she got loaned out to Norton, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I didn't see where that fitted in. I thought she was bringing a lot of the side. She was like a little pocket rocket. And when I was happy to watch her play, I've got a nerve, but I was happy to watch her play. I couldn't believe she got loaned out. But if she had, I would have been confident enough to give her an 8 if she hadn't have been loaned out. I've seen how she's doing at Norton. She's just carried on. It hasn't affected her. She's looking to get her way back in. So I would be happy to give her a 7 as well for that reason.
What about you, Cozy?
7's all round. She's definitely a 7 from me. I think Yeah, you have to score her because she's played a fair few games. I think it's 15 games she's played this season, but she's only started 6 of those, and most of those were in the cups, as you say. She certainly done a stellar job when she came on. You know, she Joe's alluded to it. Maybe there's the odd mistake, the odd giving the ball away, but above all, she's got work rate. She gives her all. She gets across that pitch. I think she is better further up the pitch as a 10 rather than in that more defensive midfield role. And I think that's probably where the issues lie for her because, you know, you've got Jazz McQuaid, Georgia Gibson, you know, Katie Borg has played as a 10 at times as well. So possibly game time is one of the reasons why she's gone out on loan. And you know what? She's gone to Norton and she's hit the ground running. She scored a fair few goals in that spell at Norton. And that's one thing she's got to her game. She's got a hell of a strike on her. I remember being at Baltimore away in the cup and she scored an absolute belter right into the top
Was I
corner.
next to you with that game? I was, wasn't I?
Yeah,
I was
you was
right at the back,
behind
right
me.
next to you.
Yeah, the ball gets played back from her. She's about 20 yards out, right hand side, hits it first time, and it just bends into the far top corner. Brilliant strike, and she's come close a couple of times. She scored a great goal at St James's Park back in pre-season. I remember she smashed the post from distance away at the Mancunian as well. And I think it was Jazz or Fergie got the rebound on that one. But yeah, brilliant player, young, bright future ahead still. But I think a 7's probably a fair score for her this season.
Just to quickly jump in there, Cozy, and I agree with what you said about Cora fitting into a 10 role. So just a hypothetical there. If Georgia Gibson was to leave Newcastle in the summer, would you then solidify and put Cora Milne Redhead in that 10 role? Is she good enough to take that role from someone like Georgia?
I think she's got potential to play in that role, whether or not that's as a regular from the get-go. But, you know, being in that full-time environment and learning from the likes of Georgia this season and, you know, other players. Jazz is young, but, you know, she's gained mountains of experience this season herself. I think that the competition for places has raised the game of everybody in the squad. Do I see her as a regular starter as a 10? Maybe not yet, but definitely in the future.
I
Cool.
agree.
Excellent. Love it. Was that a 7 all round?
7 all round.
Yeah, right, cool. 7 for Cara Milne Redhead. Interesting summer for her. Next one, Emma Kelly. I think she might score high here. Not just a pretty face, absolutely pretty footballer as well. Unbelievable talent. I don't know where to start with this because initially, as I said, Alicia Body was probably this, I wouldn't say stand out, but probably the one we're relying on a lot more in the first probably 10 to 15 games. And then I think it was just get Emma Kelly and get her running games. And then she's just gone like that. She has just gone like she added goals, creativity. For me, assist of the season. That pass.
Kelly De Bruyne.
Oh, that pass to Beth Lumsden. Well, it was Beth Lumsden, one on the right hand side,
Yeah.
and plays it. Yeah, unbelievable. What a pass that was, and it's got it in the locker where she can clip ball them first time as well. Started to score a lot of goals. She can play in the defensive. She can play in centre. She can play at the 10. She's versatile all the way at that middle. I'm going to score a 9. I think it has to be that high. I think she's been outstanding. It's an absolute outstanding signing by Becky to pinch someone who doesn't support Newcastle, a bit like Tyler, but to get someone from the northeast to come to Newcastle in a lower division. Brilliant signing. 9 out of 10. Cozy, I'll come to you.
I agree. 9 out of 10. One of our best players this season. The first few games, I wasn't quite sure where our best position was in terms of was she a defensive midfielder, was she a more attacking midfielder. But I think as the season's progressed, she's built up a great partnership with both Alicia and with Hannah Greenwood in that kind of them two holding midfielders. And as you say, the vision and the creativity for her to be able to ping a pass. You've got two midfielders like Alicia Body and Emma Kelly in the team who can do that. And you're definitely going to be going places. You mentioned she's added goals to the game. And as the season went on, as you say, that trajectory's just gone up and up. And I think every goal she scored this season has been a worldie. And the one that wasn't a worldie was the quickest goal this season after 11 seconds or whatever it was. So I think just the quality in her game. I think it's testament that the players voted her as the Players' Player of the season. I think it says a lot about her quality and what she brings, not just to the team on the pitch, but probably from a leadership perspective in the dressing room and the training ground. She's a character as well. I think we saw that video at Christmas when Grace caught her with a snowball, and she was able to laugh it off, and it just showed a little bit of her character. And them training videos that get put on the socials, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, whatever it may be, she's one of the most vocal players. It's her voice that you can hear quite often in the background of those videos. And I think she's outstanding. I think, again, she's going to be a key player for us next season. So 9 out of 10 for me.
Interesting. Megan?
I would give her a 9 out of 10, and I think this season's been a learning curve for her. As the club's grown in terms of the league, she has also grown within herself. I would even go as far as to say she's another one who should have been maybe considered for the captaincy at some point this season, just because she has clearly been that influence that the younger players and the newer players have needed. And when she has scored, they have been memorable. So she's capable of doing whatever on the pitch and also off the pitch to bring the performances to light. I think she's positive. Good role model.
Joseph?
If you asked me in January, could we have not signed Emma Kelly and not seen a difference in the team this season, I would have probably turned around and went, yeah, we didn't need Emma Kelly. She's not as magical. If you ask me right now at the end of the season, did we need Emma Kelly to clinch this championship, I will sit here right now all day long and say, God, we would never have done it without Emma Kelly. What a player she has become. Kelly De Bruyne, without a doubt, dubbed by one of, I believe it was Alicia Body actually who dubbed her that as well on Instagram. What an assist. She's got to a point now in the back end of the season where I don't know if she's better at assisting with them pinging balls or if she's better at scoring, because some of her goals have become phenomenal. She is fast becoming a player who I am really fond of. If I was to rank them, Emma Kelly is my 4th best player this season behind Charlotte Potts, Olivia Watt and Hannah Greenwood. She has been unbelievable, and most of it has come from the second half of this season. For that alone, 10 out of 10 for Kelly De Bruyne all day long. All day long.
What's the average for that 9 point?
What was that, 3 9s and a 10?
Yeah.
Oh, what's going on here? There we go. 9.25.
Really high, though. Really high. She's in the top five or six players so far. Emma Kelly, 9.25. Absolutely brilliant debut season. Speaking of a debut season, we'll move on to the on-pitch captain, which is Amber Keegan-Stubbs. Megan, I'm going to let you start for this one.
She's my joint top of the season for player of the season, Amber. Absolute, like, she's been there for years. She's got a lot of time for the fans. She's clearly got a lot of time for the club and understands how much it means. If she went anywhere else after this season, I would be devastated, because she is clearly going to be the key player going forward, as she was this season. She come in and she had the experience that we needed, and also give her the drive going forward, because you could tell it means so much to her. When she got upset down at Luton, it meant so much, and she was there for the squad to pick them back up again. I think she deserves the captaincy, definitely, for me. Good player. I would give her a 10.
10, wow. Joe?
Give her a 10.
Oh, Amber Stubbs. It's a one who I've had the absolute honour of interviewing on a high, and I've had the honour and burden of interviewing her on a low. And I tell you something, that last truly does. She said it herself in an interview with you, Lee, about bleeding black and white. She really does bleed black and white. She is worthy of the name Keegan. She is absolutely fantastic. For me, I did have Amber down as a 9.5, but obviously 0.5s aren't allowed because I can't do maths. No, Lee, all out here. Sorry, out there. I can't do directions. So
you look clever now, didn't you?
I know. Anyways, so for me, Amber Stubbs, I didn't throw her up to the 10. I brought her down to the 9 rule. And that is simply for me because I don't think we've seen the best of Amber Stubbs this season. Call me critical, boo me in the comments if you want. But I think Amber Stubbs had to do a lot of covering at the back this season. Although, yes, she's been phenomenal at it, and without it, we probably wouldn't have the amount of clean sheets or little goal deficit that would do. However, I want to see her next season in that central midfield role, bossing the whole team.
Do you want to nail down a position? Is that what you want?
Yeah, I want her nailed in one position because I think when she's in that one position consistently over the whole season, I think she is going to be potentially what Charlotte Potts was last season, the standout star. She's going to shine in the championship. So I've gone for a 9.
Ooh, Dan taught us to.
Dan and Pete are very unhappy. I don't think
Yeah,
Don't
Aberdeen
blame
really looks
them.
you're
disgruntled.
going to get
I've
some.
got to.
I feel peer pressure now.
It is what it is.
I'm going to give Cozy the next minute or two.
So, do I bow to the peer pressure and give her a 10, or do I agree with Joe and give her a 9?
Bow to the peer pressure.
Before,
Do
Go
it.
for it.
Come to the dark side.
before I give the score, Amber Keegan-Stubbs, you cut her open and she bleeds black and white. You know, she might not have been born and raised up in the northeast, but we all know the story of her dad putting Keegan in the name for obvious reasons. She's been a Geordie since the day she was born, if not living up here permanently. And for her to be brought into the club, and then for Becky to make, I feel, quite a bold decision in the summer. You know, Becky rotated the captaincy in pre-season.
Big
Each
call that.
pre-season game, someone different was given the captain's armband. Grace had it, Hannah Reid had it, Amber, I think Liv Watt and Potty had it as well on a game each. And then Amber was the one who was given the on-field captaincy. And that could have gone one of two ways. It could have demoralised Grace Donnelly, who captained the team to success last season, or it could have brought the team together, with Amber being so passionate about Newcastle. And I think the mentality within that squad is it doesn't matter who's waving the armband because there's so many leaders within the squad. But Amber's took that armband and boy has she ran with it. I think she's gave consistent displays week after week wherever she's been called upon. However, I do agree with Joe that I would like to see her nailed down in one position, and I do think she offers more further up the pitch than what she does in defence or in a defensive midfield role. Um, Before I score her as well, just a massive shout out for everything she does off the pitch from a mental health perspective as well. Amber is a huge advocate and ambassador for If You Care Share. She's made no secret and she's been very open and honest about her own mental health struggles. And it was just this Saturday gone in the men's programme. There was quite a lengthy interview with her about what she's gone through throughout her career. And I think hats off to anybody who is able to be so open and honest but also come back from that dark place and show that anything's possible. You know, she's come back and she's now captaining her childhood team, and she's doing it successfully as well. So hats off to Amber for that. In terms of score, I'm going to give her a 9.
Oh, that's going to cause some
Yeah.
controversy. I have to echo that. Big shout out to Potty as well, who's also another one, especially with it being mental health week as well. So I love her. I absolutely love her. I think I've just grown to love her this season, getting to know her. I've seen her upset. I just couldn't look at her at Luton. I was like, Joe, you're going to have to date. I just couldn't because I started to know her on a personal level. I'm like, bloody hell. Like, I see a lot of these, and I say this every time, I see a lot of these, and you probably do, sometimes more than your own family, because you're seeing them at least once a week. You're not going to see your aunties and uncles and cousins and whatever all that often. And I love the fact that she can also be down with the kids, i.e. the younger ones in the squad, but also she can be mature enough to be, look, I'm the senior player here. You know, I can speak to Jodie Bartle, I can speak to Charlotte Potts and Hannah Reid and be the figurehead and be, do you want to call it mothership or whatever you call it? She'll hate me saying for that. No, she'll hate me saying for that.
You've just dug a hole.
I've just done it. Sorry, Amber. But yeah, you're all right. She's all the off-field ventures on one with Pete Graves the other night. She's done the Adidas thing. She's done the art thing. She just loves it. She loves Newcastle. In that interview with Becky Langley where she comes up and goes, she loves Newcastle. It goes through. But it's not just that. And her performance on the pitch, she's another one that's a bit like Hannah Greenwood. No one really talks about her after a game. Like, oh my God, she was amazing. Because, again, forwards get the limelight. But everything she does, no matter where she plays, is phenomenal. She's been playing right centre-back, defensive midfield. She's even played one game, I think, further in advance as well. I'm going to get 10 out of 10 for everything that she brings on and off the field. I don't think she's going to win me player of the season, but she's one of them in the top. And I just think, just a breath of fresh air. And just knee, oh, I'm not playing centre back today, or I'm not playing, it's defensive. Yeah, it's like, I'll do it. I'll take it on. Let's do it. Take the challenge on. 10 out of 10. I don't know what the average is on that now.
9.5.
9.5, great.
I think that's fair.
People in the
People will
comments.
disagree.
No, people in the comments again. I love me. We're giving her a 10 and Megan. So big up
Pete,
Amber.
Pete's not going to sit next to Cozy anymore. He's coming to sit next to Megan. Watch.
Yes, let him sit next to me. I
Gonna
like
sit next to Megan and go woo.
That'll be some difference, the size of Megan and the size of Pete. It's going to be like Ryan Fraser and Dan Byrne, isn't it?
What do you think it is when I'm sat next to Pete?
I take it as Ryan Fraser.
I'll bring up their comment in a moment, but we'll move on to the final set midfield and move into number 10's right wingers, and then Joel will take over the final bit. Shauna Wilkinson. Joel, I'll come with you on this straight away.
Whoa, Shauna Wilkinson, absolute rocket again. You can probably not find a goal this season that Shauna has scored. She hasn't scored a whole bunch, but she's been a very important player coming off the bench. When she's been coming off the bench, I don't think you could find a close range goal from Shauna. Please, if anyone can correct us on that.
Last one of the season, that was it.
The one against
Oh,
West
yes,
Brom.
sorry.
But
Yes,
that was a
our
brilliant
last
goal,
one.
though. That was a great team
It
goal.
was well taken, great team goal, and her to finish it off. You can always rely on Shauna to put it in the back of the net. She is probably one of the most accurate players on our squad, and that's saying something. For me, Shauna, I don't want to sound too critical, but we haven't seen her enough this season. I would love to see Shauna in next season. I'm not going to look too much at the West Brom game where she was in tears, and you've got to think this part of the season is that a sign of things to come. I please hope not. I would love to see Shauna as a rotational player, and I score Shauna a 7. Simply because of the time that we haven't seen her, but it takes nothing from her skill, nothing from her ability. She is fantastic, and I really hope to see her going forward in black and white.
I'll match that. I'll score her next. I think that's, the cup games was played in defence because there's no threat really, let's be honest. She can bring the ball out and almost be a centre midfielder effectively. She was given more of an advanced role at Redditch, which does show you that hopefully that's not the end of her Newcastle career, because the tears flowed afterwards, and obviously we'll mention another individual shortly, but yeah, a couple of rockets, especially the one at down in Mancuni Unity. That was got some hit behind that. The Chorley one, probably the keeper should do a little bit better, but yeah, great team goal at Redditch, 3 goals, very much underrated I feel, but I'll match that and go 7. So, Cozy, I'll come to you.
Yeah, Shauna's a player that I've been a big fan of for a couple of years now. She was actually in the first team last season for the first half of the season, and then the second half she dipped out, and she ended the season playing with the Devs, which was unfortunate for her, I felt. She's been in and around the first team this season. Like you say, she hasn't played a whole lot of games, but when she has played, whether that's been coming off the bench in the odd game or starting in the cup games as well, I think she's done a job, and she's another player who's got versatility. Our main role is as a midfielder, but we've seen her slot into defence. She's dropped into right back, to centre back, and I think that's testament to the type of player that Becky's trying to bring into the team, and the type of squad she's trying to build, whereby players are so interchangeable. You know, you might go out one day and not have a formation, not have a set position for a player, but everybody just moves around. And Shauna Wilkinson has got the ability and the creativity to play in a number of positions in that squad. I think, Egwin, what you guys were saying, I hope it's not the end of Shauna. We did see tears flowing. I would like to see her continue her career in black and white, and I'll go the same as you. So I'll go 7.
Megan, for the last word on Shauna.
I think for a player who hasn't started so much this season, it's testament to herself and her skill that she's still remembered and talked about for her talent in the fans. I mean, it's something I hear a lot, is our ability to finish and be a memorable finish as well, and that is rare in itself. And I think to come back on and carry on as if she's never had that absence in her play, I think that's special. And she's definitely doing credit to Becky Langley in terms of her management style by not expecting to be picked every game, but showing why she should feature in the starting lineup. And I think that's a skill in herself. For that, I would probably give her a 7 just for her attitude and her positivity.
Nice 7 for Shauna Wilkinson, who loves her set piece. She can half hit one. Moving into 2 number 10s, we'll go with Georgia, and we've got Jazz coming up. So we'll start with Georgia. We'll go with Cozy. I'll let you start on this one.
Georgia Gibson. You know what it is, at the start of the season, I worried for Georgia. She didn't play in pre-season because she was late back due to prior kind of holiday arrangements she'd made before they'd even announced they were going full-time and professional. So she missed all of pre-season. She came back and she wasn't a regular starter for those first couple of games as well. She was on the bench. And I did worry as to where she was going to fit in with so many midfielders having been brought in last summer. You know, we brought in Amber, Hannah, Alicia. There was another one as well, Emma Kelly. And it did cross my mind, would Gibson fit into that squad long term? But you know what it is? She came in and actually worked out. She started the next 18 league games. And it was only the back end of the season where she then dropped out because, you know, the league title was all but wrapped up. What a way for her to come off the bench and for the number 10 to score that 10th goal against Huddersfield as well, by the way. But again, she's someone who's she's consistent. You know what you're going to get from Georgia Gibson every game. Her hold-up play is superb. Her vision, she can hit a shot like there's no tomorrow. And I think she's been such an integral part of this team, not just this season, but over the last couple of years as well. You know, she's been there through the heartache of losing out to Liverpool Feds a couple of years ago. She was there at the heart of the promotion last season, and she's been right at the heart of promotion this season, scoring some vital goals. I think I'm right in thinking it's 14 for Georgia this season. Only Bridget has scored more. She's level with Katie Barker, so that's an incredible return for a number 10. For me, she's a 9. I'm going to give Georgia a 9.
A 9 out of 10. I actually think. She was top scorer last season. I'm sure she was.
Yeah,
Well,
she
was, yeah.
Megan, give us your score, but is she underrated?
I love Georgia Gibson. I think she's an absolute ray of sunshine, and the fact that she comes on and just plows through every single opposition. She just never gives up. She only joined the club in 2020, and you can see how much it means to her already. I would be devastated if she left. There are a few rumours circulating in terms of a career outside of football, but I think she's in the right career path at the minute. You can tell every time she gets the ball, I'm just confident in her ability. I just know that it's either going to lead to something or end up in the back of the net, depending on if she's on the pitch at St James's Park. She's just absolutely amazing. I love her, mate. I think she's really good.
What's the score?
Knee slides at the delegate end, guaranteed.
Yeah, 10.
Oh, a 10.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, I like it.
Yeah.
A 10 and a 9. Obviously, Joe, give us your score, but also, if we're obviously being promoted to the championship, is there a case of like, come on, Georgia, I want you part of the squad, give us another year, and then, you can look at your PE. I know she's given us a year, but is that the doubt over the summer?
I think so. I think it's something that's been discussed, maybe not as much as other stuff, but she's debating on her PE career and leading the generations that are coming up, which I think is very important. It's a role that's heavily overlooked. You see the likes of Aaron Embleton going on doing it and giving teachings to the younger children and stuff, and I think Georgia is a massive example of someone who you would want as a leader. She is stern. She's a visionary. She knows what's going on. She can read that pitch so well, and she wants the glory and she wants the gusto. However, would I like to see her play in the championship and feature in black and white? Yes. I would honestly love to see Georgia Gibson flying in at the Gallagher in the championship, scoring yet again, doing what Causey called out last time at St James's Park, knee slide and banging one in the 90th minute, just like Johnny Greenwood said. Georgia Gibson in the 90th minute. She is truly one of those players who it's going to be hard eventually. We all know what happens. Eventually, Newcastle's not going to have Georgia Gibson, and you're going to feel strange not seeing her on the squad at all. But I guarantee she'll be in the stands. I guarantee that.
Well, that's my
For
week
me,
round.
Georgia Gibson. I know, sorry guys. For me, Georgia Gibson. Oh, and that's one other thing as well. Just to quote myself, balling like Gibson or Barker in the form of my life. Gibson right now, alongside Katie Barker, both of them two are in their absolute peak form. If Georgia Gibson was to go right now, Georgia, you've gone on a high. You have rid your high horse into that sunset, and it is bloody phenomenal. Well done. Hats off to you, lass. I am going to score Georgia. It sounds like I'm going to give her a 10 here, and it's going to bring it right down.
You've got to now.
for Georgia Gibson. I'm sorry, but it is a 9 for her. I was thinking 10, but I just think it's a fact that she hasn't been featured, and at times she's been overlooked and outshadowed by some of the other bigger players, likes of Emma Kelly, likes of Alicia Body. And again, like Cozy said, 14 goals, second to Bridget Galloway. I guarantee loads of people's jaws drop when they hear that stat.
Unbelievable stat. And yeah, right, it's the PA career, isn't it? And it's because I don't think she'll join another football club. It's just that she just gives up football, it's a huge thing to do. But I'm going to disagree with you, Joe. I want to go for Megan. Because for a midfield, because let's face it, she's technically a midfielder, to score 14 goals in any
Inspirational.
whether it's the men's, women's, 10 out of 10. Because her goals, you don't get promoted. Simple as that.
Yeah.
I know Bridget obviously was on fire the first half of the season, but you take Gibson's goals away. And I actually do think she's underrated, despite her stats look incredible, because no one ever, again, she's not glamorous, I don't think, but what she is good at is her finishing, arriving late as well, edge of the box, low hitting. And I just think also she can do a job and she can go a little bit deeper as well, which at the time she has done. But if I said to you at the start of the season, right, your midfielder's going to score 14 goals after being promoted, you'll say 10 out of 10, you surely would. So for that reason, I've got to go. And it's also nice to see her personality come out a little bit more recently in the last few weeks, where she's obviously celebrating, having apple juice around everybody. And then she's obviously just being camera woman a couple of times, taking photos of everyone, just relaxed. And it's good to see that as well. So 10, a 10, a 9, and a 9. What is that?
That is a 9.5. And just before we move on from Georgia Gibson, you mentioned there how you don't think she's going to play for another football club. Obviously, she's got a career as a PA teacher. Do you see Georgia Gibson fitting in the Newcastle setup somewhere if and when the day comes where an on-pitch career comes to an end? Do you see her fitting in as a coach with the academy?
Well, she's qualified PE, so that'll help.
Exactly. You talk about inspiring the future generations. I think if and when that time comes, I could 100% see Georgia Gibson on the coaching staff at Newcastle.
Coaching staff. I just want to. Can I make a very bold claim? Give it 10 years. That'll be Georgia Gibson.
Wow.
Super League. I don't care. 10 years. Georgia Gibson's up on that flag. Manager.
I think she's a future manager, future coach.
Yeah.
I really do. I think she's got it in her.
Like a PE
she's got that respect from her peers, and she's got that leadership quality.
She's inspirational. That's what she is.
Oh yeah.
Let's just create a PE role for Newcastle United. There you go. There you go. Do you mind playing on a Saturday or Sunday? Midweek sometimes. We've got a Continental Cup coming. So a big scoreline and swagger like jazz before Joe takes over to do the two left wingers and the strikers, and then we'll wrap up. Who shall I'll let Joe go because I know you love her.
Jazz. Swagger like jazz. Swagger like jazz. If I was to rate Jazz simply on attitude alone, she would get a 15 out of 10, the highest score without doubt, because she has attitude in bags. Lass is absolutely a baller. She is a future star. She's a future team beater. She is a future lioness. She's a future trophy holder. And I'm not just talking Women's Super League. I'm talking Champions League. You will see that Lass lift trophy after trophy after trophy. I've got one massive, massive worry about Jasmine McQuaid, and that's us keeping a hold of her. We need to keep a hold of Jasmine McQuaid. Right now, you see her flourishes of skill. She reminds me very much of maybe a Saint-Maximin with a better end product. Sorry, I love Saint-Maxi as well, but she reminds us of something like that. She's got a brilliant end product on her. Is the times where you think, I wish she was a little bit more composed there. I wish she was, a bit tighter on the ball. I wish she passed at that moment. Yeah, of course there is. And then you remember her age. Not only that, you remember she's just massively helped qualify into the championship after at the start of the season, coming from a development team. I don't think you can name many other players in the whole of women's football and maybe men's football as well who do something like that impact, coming in from a lower team and banging straight in and being amazing. With a lot of improvement on the horizon for Jasmine McQuaid, I am going to give Jazz, and this might surprise a lot of people, I'm giving Jazz an 8. Now, that is simply because I know there is improvement coming. I
think that's low.
That's low.
It is a little low.
How many goals did you score again? It's got to be double figures.
Jazz. It's got to
12.
be double figures.
12 goals.
More
12 goals
important
from
for Jazz.
Midfield.
How many goals did she score at close range? Not many. And I accept she has been phenomenal. You can't deny her. She has been one of our best substitutes of the season. She is our most improved player of the season for me. And that sounds again, Joe, why are you giving her an 8 then? Because she is a player who in 2 years' time, you're going to struggle not to give a 10 or 11. That is coming. And I am more excited for the Jasmine McQuaid that's coming than the Jasmine McQuaid we've got right now. So yes, 8.
8, I think that's low. I'm going to go against Goalscorer. I'm going to score 9. Again, same reason. Georgia Gibson scores goals. Jazz McQuaid, yes, a couple of hat-tricks. I say that lightly. Yes, just a couple of, like it's every day. But yes, swagger. It is literally like swagger. It is give me the ball, I'll show you kind of attitude. I love that fact. It's kind of like a bit like a Ben Arthur. Come on, give us the ball. Come on, I'll do the magic. Scoring goals for fun. Personality is mad as well. She also comes across when you interview her quite shy. Believe it or not, she is quite shy. But yeah, I think it's just. I think she's a star in the making. I really do. I think she can just grow like that as well. And I think it's also good to see that Becky's not afraid to drop her at the start of the season. She's obviously coming from the devs, got in the side, a couple of games back on the bench, back starting again. But from the second half of the season, she's basically a regular. And trying to fit Georgia in that team alongside Jazz must be difficult with both of them. Scoring goals for fun, but creativity, 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. I'll come to you, Cozy, for that next one.
I think it's absolutely criminal that Joe has scored Jazz less than a 9.
Guess I'm the villain of the day.
I was getting grief for not giving Potty a 10, so you're going to get grief for not giving Jazz at least a 9. For me, she's a 9 out of 10. I think we touched on it earlier, but she's one of the only players who's made that step up regularly from the devs into the first team. Grace Boys, as we mentioned, played a few games. Last season, we had the likes of Jess Spark step up and play a few games earlier on in the season. Georgina Spraggan has been in out of the first team in the past as well. But Jazz is the one real success story that we've had from the devs so far. And I think it's been a breakthrough season for her. 13 starts and 13 sub appearances, but 12 goals. Like that's an incredible return for someone so young as well. And as you alluded to, Joe, like she scores worldies. Like she doesn't just score tap in; she scores worldies from the edge of the box, from 20 yards, 30 yards out. I think she's absolutely superb, and I think she's got an incredible future ahead. We talk about Alicia Body being a future lioness. I can 100% see Jazz McQuaid in the WSL and being a future lioness as well. So 9 out of 10 for me this season.
Megan?
My absolute player of the season, Jazz McQuaid.
Ooh, statement.
If I could roll back the years and have someone to look up to like Jazz McQuaid playing football, I would be that little girl who walked onto the pitch because of her.
Roll back the years? You can't be that old, man.
Anyway, we'll move on. But yeah, she is absolutely inspirational, and for being so shy and reserved off the pitch, to then let her feet do the talking is another skill in itself. I think she's got that mindset already where she knows where she wants to be, and there's nothing that's going to get in her way, so much so that she's making an impact as what I would call a super sub. She's determined to make her mark on the game and then acknowledge that it was a team effort. She's not got the arrogance. She might come across, obviously, in celebrations or with the team as being confident, but on the pitch she's well aware of what she can do, but doesn't let it override the team. And I think that's a special feature for me going forward, especially being promoted now. There's a room in the side for her, and I think she's done that herself, and Becky's guided her along the way. Player of the season.
That's a 10, it has to be, doesn't it?
100%.
Yeah. And Cozy, mathematician.
What was it? It was an 8 from Joe, 9 from us, and 10 from Megan, yeah? That is a 9, average of 9.
I'm devastated.
Just a 9? Oh, Joe, get away.
Get away.
One more thing on Jazz McQuaid. Who else could have got Potty to do that in Babby celebration?
Oh, yes.
True.
Unbelievable.
You know, Potty doesn't usually kind of get involved in that kind of stuff. She's quite reserved and she'll celebrate, but Jazz brought that and Babby out of Potty, so
Yeah, that was brilliant. I loved that. That was a good day.
superb.
That was a really good day, especially when Patsy gave her medal to Colin. That was
Oh,
lovely,
yeah.
absolutely lovely. Okay, Joseph. Oh, Joseph.
Well, Lee, hold on a moment. I've just got to say that I think this is going to be 1-1 right now because obviously I'm getting Soulsby on her, but that means have you missed Beth Lumsden, my good sir?
Well, I'll do both of them. Sorry, I thought you wanted to do both wingers. I'll do both.
Right, that's not a problem because I really want to try and avoid scoring Soulsby for as long as possible. So yes, taking the mantle, going back in. I am going to start this off with one of my favourites because I want to get the ranting and raving off. My favourites this season, I should say. She has been in the form of her career, and if we went on last season, we would be talking about a striker. However, this season, I think it is more than fair to say Katie Barker has been a winger. For me, Katie scores a 10. She is in the form of her life, and I know we have more years of this to come. Another future lioness. She's fantastic. Megan, Katie Barker, one of her own. What you seeing?
Homegrown talent. The only thing I'm disappointed with is she was on a hat trick in the last game and she didn't get the hat trick. And I had bets on Katie Barker to get the hat trick. Unfortunately, she was taken off, but she's so unselfish in her play. She's just absolutely confident. I think the club can be proud for nurturing such a talent and encourage her in a way where she if she doesn't score, she doesn't beat herself up. She passes, she assists. She's quick and thinking, and I think the others have confidence in her getting forward that if it's out of range for her, she's passing to somebody else. There's no way she's hogging the goals. Yeah, she's a positive player, Katie Barker. I really like her abilities. She's good. What would I give her though? I'm going to have to give her a 10. I don't think there could be any less. I was going to say 9, but our goals are too important. I'm going to say 10.
I think some people want to lean towards a 9 because there was a couple of games at the start of the season where maybe she was a little bit out of favour, but she came right back.
She came back. She proved herself, yeah.
She really did. Lee, Katie Barker, you have even seen Katie Barker playing in goal. So what's your opinion of Katie Barker this season?
I have seen her play a goal in the cup final when we won the County Cup. That was at Whitley Park, and it was absolutely chucking it down. Yeah, when Bridget was signed, she didn't get in the side, did it? She was more of a sub for a few games, and then she got her place on the left side ahead of Casey and made that her own. And I think we interviewed her and she said she's played there previously down the years as well. I say down the years, she's still young, you know what I mean? She's still quite young. But yeah, very happy chappy. A fella always comes along to watch as well. Good that she's got the support as well. I think she's really well liked as well. I love the fact that, I don't know, left wing, I don't know, but the fact that she's still got double figures, and I love the fact she can just find little pockets, and she's like, she can nimble, she can go past the player, she can score little curlers and all that. I really like. I don't think she needs replaced at all, moving up at another level. And again, I'm going with the consistency. If you play her regularly and you score in double figures, I'm going 10 because you've got to. It's another forward out wide, if you want to call it that, who's got double figures, and a bit like Georgia. And if Jazz had played the full season, I probably would have given her 10. But goals win you games, and numerous times she came up with them at crucial times, so 10 for me.
Yes, definitely. Got to agree there. Causey, we know you're a big fan of Katie Barker as well, alongside Georgia Gibson. What are you seeing? What's your score for Katie Barker?
I think Katie has been reinvigorated this season. Not that she needed to be, but like you say, those first few games because she missed a big chunk of pre-season as well, remember?
Yeah.
And she didn't really have her place in the squad at the start of the season. She was coming off the bench. When she was coming off the bench, she wasn't getting a great sniff of goal, the odd goal here and there. But going out wide left, and must say that harsh on Casey Elson as well, because Casey's been a phenomenal player for us on the left, and she's been kind of resorted to an off the bench role for the latter part of the season in preference of Katie. But Katie's made that left wing her own, and the amount of time she fools defenders. Her right foot's her stronger foot. You know she's going to cut inside, but she fools defences every single time. And again, 14 goals, level with Georgia Gibson, only Bridget ahead of her. I think she's done an incredible job this season. I mentioned earlier that I find it hard to give 10s because it signs that there's no room for improvement. I would have had KB down as a 9.5, but of course, as we've mentioned, 0.5s on the ratings. So I'm going to go against the grain and I'm going to bring it down to a 9 for our number 9, Katie Barker.
What?
A 9. Ooh.
What's your Katie Barker song?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go on to right there. Pete, what a shout.
Just give it the 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, we need to get this
That's
out into the
steps.
masses. Causey, take
You
the floor,
all
my
know
good sir.
5, 6, 7, 8, don't you?
Steps.
Yeah.
Legend,
Yeah. Am I really doing this live on YouTube?
You're doing it?
Yes,
yeah.
you're all right now.
Just embrace it.
Yeah.
It's roll with it.
Our goal scoring Katie is driving us crazy in the famous black and white stripes on number 9. Was and last, born and bred, scores like Shearer with her head, plays up front or on the wing, Barker scores and makes us sing.
I love that, and that is where I first found out that Katie Barker is from my hometown too, Walls End. Katie Barker, N-A-28, said N-A-28. Oh,
That's hilarious.
wonderful. Thank you
Why
very
have
much,
I never
Causey.
heard that?
That is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. You're getting a lot of love now in the comments. Fair play. Fair play.
Yes, so I know this is a rating video, so everyone in the comments, can you give a rating for Causey's song? I think this is a contender against Leah Cataldo's song from the Cataldo Boys.
Which Cataldo song, no? Which Cataldo song?
What do you mean, which?
There's 2.
We've got Jamie and Dan in the comments because they know that there's a second Cataldo
Yeah.
song.
There is.
Right. This needs to be a discussion going forward. Maybe we'll have to have a fan chance podcast as well. We'll have to discuss that one and get that going. I think that's quite possible.
I'll keep that one for another time.
So, moving swiftly on, you mentioned a Causey, and I want to start with you going on to it. Casey Ellison. What kind of season are you seeing Casey Ellison having, and what score are you giving her?
What we're giving Barker?
Oh, sorry, Barker. Sorry, yes, of course. 10, 10, 10, and 9. Causey.
Did you give it 10 as well, Joe? Did you?
I did indeed.
That is a 9.75.
Ooh, it's high.
Bosh. Easy up there. So yes, 9.75 for the one and only Katie Barker. And moving on to the position that she has been contending with, the person she has been contending with for her position, Causey, Casey Ellison. You touched upon her before. What's your score and what you're seeing about her this season?
Yeah, again, I think she's been harshly done by. I think she's a big game player for us. She's proved that over the last couple of years. She's been an integral part of getting us from tier 4 to tier 3. Maybe, I don't want to say lost her way, but obviously lost her place in the squad and was left to kind of a super sub role in the second half of the season. But boy, did she play that well. Some crucial goals for her coming off the bench, scoring the opener away to Burnley, scoring away to Wolves. Big games where we really needed something to turn the tide in our favour. And up steps Casey Ellison. I think the 1-0 win away to Forest earlier in the season as well. That game wasn't going our way at all. Forest were a better team. Licia Body came off the bench and changed that game second half, but it was Casey Ellison who scored the goal and made the impact. I'm going to give her a 9 purely because of her importance of the goals she scored. Now, I did toy between an 8 as well, but I think, like I said, just the importance and a character. And, she's lost her place in the squad. She could have let that get to her. She could have had a negative and she could have got herself bummed out and not gave her all when she did come on the pitch. But she's used it to her advantage and she's gave Becky a problem of, I'm still here. Like, don't forget about me. I'm going to come on this pitch. I'm going to score goals. I'm going to create chances. And I'm going to give you a selection headache. So I'm going to give Casey a 9 purely on the importance of the goals she scored.
I think Clay will be a very big fan of you after watching this, like Causey. That is a very, very, very good review of Casey Ellison's season. Megan, do you agree with Causey or are you going against him? What are you saying?
No, I agree. That Nottingham Forest game was the game of the season for me. They don't all have to be big. They don't all have to be pretty. But her goal put us in contention. I know I mentioned it to you before, Joe, because I had a lot of postponements at that point, but we certainly put our names in the hat to deservedly sit. I'm not sure if it was the top or near the top, but we're in contention with Burnley at that point, and her goal saved our blushes in a way because Forest were all over her, and she she made a name for herself for me in the 59th minute of that game, and then scoring in the final game of the season. It was just a subtle reminder to say, listen, I can make the difference as well, and I should be included as well as those who feature more than me for next season going forward. I would happily give her a 9.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. 2 more 9s. I would definitely put Casey Ellison as a 9 myself. I had 8.5, but no 0.5s allowed, as we mentioned plenty of the time, and that's a 9. Lee, finishing off with you on Casey Ellison. You've obviously trawled through tons of footage of Casey Ellison coming on and off as a sub. What's your opinion on Casey as a super sub?
Yes, maybe in the bad egg, yeah.
Oh,
I'm going to go knock it down. I'm going to go 8. But I think it's down to the fact of Katie Barker's kept her at the side, and she was effectively an impact player. Don't get me wrong, she scored that crucial goal like Megan scored away to Forest. But I'll score on the fact that she lost her place and she become an impact player. She'll never want that tag, but obviously she scored away to Burnley and she scored away to... Did she come off the bench and score somewhere else? I can't remember.
We get to Wolves.
Wolves,
When we
that
were
was it.
2-0
Oh,
down,
that
she
was
got
it.
the first one.
That amazing comeback. Just for that, that's probably the only reason why. But Katie Barker's sensational, do you know what I mean? And then she was moved to the right when she was being brought on as well, so because she didn't want to remove Katie Barker, so goes to show you how well Katie Barker was. But I'll score her an 8 just because the fact she didn't play often enough. She was an impact player. A second half season.
yeah, that's fair. 3 9s and an 8. Causey, mathematician, Carol Causeyman. What is your
8.75.
Cozy.
Carol Causeyman? Aye. He's getting all the tags here. He's taking the chance. He's Causey Travels, Causey Airways, Causey
You want to get that
Carol
trademark?
Causeyman.
You want to get that
And
trademark?
he's even trying to take Stat Wallaby's role in this whole podcast. I swear he's going to run things next season. Bernie, watch yourself. Causey's coming with a drum. Anyways, moving swiftly on
What was
from
the
Katie
average?
Barker.
8.75.
8.75.
Bring it here
Bang
because
that up.
Joe was rambling.
Sorry, as per usual. Johnny said it earlier. I was going to have a point where I was going to get louder. And as you've all seen, I went and got another coffee before. Whoop, whoop. Well, I got delivered to my door. Anyways, moving on. I'm going to keep it with the
Wait a
wingers.
minute. Let's just pause there. You got a coffee delivered to your door? What, like an Uber coffee or something?
No. Someone, I sent a message before. I was like, can you make a cut? And just drop it outside my door for us. Got the message before and I was like, this is perfect
Nice.
timing. Lovely, isn't it?
Is that where
Lovely,
you
isn't it?
living?
Yeah,
What?
we live.
Yeah,
Where do you live?
Marriott Hotel, you know what I
Feels
mean?
like it's can I have a coffee, please? All right.
No, big shout out to my stepmother Denise, who will probably be able to hear us saying this, but big shout out for bringing this coffee for us. Thank you very much. I appreciate
Denise, I live
it.
in Bladen, so
Yeah,
get in the
I'm
car.
basically driving.
Get in the car.
Denise, you've got something to drop off in Bladen now. Moving swiftly on, keeping with the wingers, but I want to keep with the forwards. I want to stick with one who I personally don't think we can score. I think this is non-applicable, and I hope you all agree, in Nikki Giaz. And now I personally think Nikki Giaz was, again, a player who was brought in because she has potential for the future. She has the ability to come on and do a job next season. I think she's going to be a very impact player who pings in balls left, right and centre from what we have seen of her. But I don't want to give Nikki Giaz a score. Obviously, if you guys want to, I'll chime in afterwards. Lee, Nikki Giaz, what are you thinking?
Yeah, non-applicable. She only played 2 games. Might be wrong on that.
Right.
3 did she? And obviously, it's difficult when you've given birth and you're coming back in and trying to get into full fitness. So it took a while for her. But I generally feel she was signed because of Becky Ferguson's injury, and she was that replacement. But yeah, you can't really score someone, and next season if she's obviously still at the club, get more game time. She's obviously got that experience playing with local sides in the northeast of the high division. So fingers crossed, but not enough of her. Non-applicable for me.
Yeah, Megan, what would you say with Nikki Giaz?
I think she was signed with an outlook towards achieving promotion. But I am very pleased to have her on the side. She's still quite young, 24, I think. So there's still room for her to grow into the side. I think she should be given more of a chance to prove herself, which we might see next season. But I can understand the logic in signing her for going forward, definitely.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's really nice to mention about Nikki Giaz is you see a lot of you see our family coming along, you see our partner with the baby, and it's really nice to see. I think she could be quite a potential to come quite connected to the fans. Obviously, Causey, you've seen how some of these players react with the fans. Do you think Nikki's going to be one for the future, and do you think she's going to be quite close knit with our little family?
Yeah, I think there was two reasons Nikki was signed from what I've seen. One is Becky Ferguson's injury that they touched on, but I also think she was signed with a view of playing in the championship. I think she was brought in now to get her bedded into the team, to get her used to the environment, training. You know, as they touched on it, it's a big thing to come back from pregnancy. You know, you're not just going to come back and be back to the standards you had previously. It's going to take time, fitness levels, getting back into the routine of training on a full-time basis. I think she was brought in at the point she was to bed in with the team and be ready for next season. And the glimpses we have seen of her, I'm incredibly excited. I think she looks like a hell of a talent, and I think she could have a big part to play for us next season. And it's going to be interesting because there's going to be a lot of competition in those areas. Obviously, we don't know what comings and goings there's going to be, but I think she's definitely got a part to play for us next season. But not applicable. It's only right to say.
Yeah, all agreed. Non-applicable on that one, which I think is very fair. Causey, you've done it again. You've mentioned a player I wanted to bring up a bit later, but I'll bring her up now since you've mentioned her. Fergie!
Fergie
Becky
time.
Oh, it's Fergie time, baby. I think Becky Ferguson is a player who, if she didn't get the injury that she did at the time she did, she would have continued and really truly become our little snow angel, pun intended. And this season, she would have been up there with Georgia Gibson and Katie Barker. For me personally, I'm going with a 9. Meggie?
I've been called worse. That's fine.
Megan, what do you think of War Becky Ferguson, and what's your score on the young amazing player?
I think she's got a positive attitude, and she's another player who I've seen travel, even though she has had that game-changing injury. She's just never given up, and I think to have that attitude and outlook at such a young age is crucial. She was going places, but she'll definitely have the chance to prove herself more, because I think she'd done enough before her injury to make a statement for herself. I would give her an 8 for that outlook.
I think that's fair. 8 and 9s. I like that. So I'm going to look at Causey now that I've said 8 and 9s. I like that. Causey, are you going to go against the grain again, or what's going to happen? Because it's only been me and you being a villain. Causey, Becky Ferguson, lay it on with.
I think Becky Langley thinks very highly of Becky Ferguson, and if not for that injury, I think she would have been up there with Jazz, with KB, with Georgia in terms of goals returned this season. 5 goals in the 14 games she played. Think about the 20 odd games that she would have missed in the second half of the season. I think there was definitely scope for her to easily surpass double figures. It was a cruel injury, but I think from what I've seen, she's got a strong head on her, and she'll come back stronger. And I think there's no doubts that she's got a part to play in this squad next season. For me, I'm going to give her an 8.
I think that's fair again. Yeah, it was a brutal, horrible injury for her. It was very sad to see. Lee, you got that on footage. What was it like seeing that, and why are you scoring Becky Ferguson?
I'll score an 8. I'll match that, and I love her. I absolutely love her enthusiasm. She's happy. She's smiley, positive. Whenever Becky asks her to do something, she'll play there. She obviously scored crucial goals, even last season as well. She got 1 or 2 crucial ones. I remember, I think she got 1 Hull in the Cup as well.
Yeah.
This season, that West Brom's obviously the West Brom one, the big one in the snow. And obviously got a couple of Cup goals as well. But she was playing on the right-hand side as well. She had a spell coming off the bench playing there as well. So I think that it's a real promising player here. I think her potential's trajectory is just only upwards. And I do agree with Causey. I think Becky thinks really highly of her. She won't leave the club. I think she'll want to develop her more, progress her, and hopefully, she's the finished article, hopefully in the next 18 months or so, where she becomes the main. I would hope so. She'll push, but yeah, 8 for me.
Yeah, I think that's
She
fair.
is another one as well who was represented at England at youth level. I think a lot of people don't realise that.
Captain as well, wasn't she?
Say again, sorry?
I think she captained the side as well.
Yeah, she did, yes. So, you know, again, we're talking about the Alicia bodies of this world and of this team who have broken into that England youth setup. Becky Ferguson's been there as well. So, yeah, promising future ahead, definitely.
What's the average there?
That is an 8.25.
8.25.
Oh, quite strong. I think that's quite strong for a player who's been out a lot of the season injured, 8.25, and I think it's fairly given as well. So we are going to get into the thick of it. Our big goal scorers, and I think there's a lot of question about these two, and I think it's very much a tale of two halves with both of them. But I'm going to start off in chronological order with Bridget Galloway. I personally think without Bridget Galloway, we wouldn't be in the position we are in right now. I think she had a better first half of the season to a second half. I'm going to give Bridget a 9 simply based on that factor. Lee, what are you seeing? Because I know you are a massive Bridget Galloway fan.
Yeah, when first come in, she was absolutely incredible. It was literally 10 out of 10 the first half of the season. You cannot not deny that. Second half of the season, I've had to rate that. It's obviously not as strong, of course not. But I think for the first half of the season when she first come in, just everything, bullet headers, edge of the box. She missed a couple of penalties, but then she went on back to hat-trick a couple of games later. She was absolutely sensational. So I didn't know what to score on the second half because Paige came in. She didn't play. She only got the one goal, didn't she? Away to Stoke.
Yeah.
Because she lost her place and didn't score, I'd probably score a 6 in the second half if it was based on just the second half, which I know that sounds incredibly harsh, which is probably the lowest. But the first half, it has to be 10 out of 10. So for that, I'll go 8 because the first half was absolutely unreal. And then I don't know what is. I think the signing of Paige affected her confidence, and she couldn't get in the side. And for me, I have to go down more or less the middle of that 8.
That's very fair, very fair. I noticed you didn't mention it, so I'm going to bring it up before we go into with Causey. The penalties. In early on, she missed 2 penalties, sort of like very close succession. Causey, do you think that affected Bridget Galloway?
100%. I was going to touch on that actually. And that's first half of the season. She was incredible. It was 15 goals from August to the new year, but she only scored 1 from January onwards, which was that one away to Stoke that Lee's mentioned. So it really was a tale of two halves. I think she went through a little bit of a dip midway through the first half of the season. Those 2 penalties, I think it was Burnley at home in the 0-0, followed by Huddersfield away, and they just seemed to knock her confidence for a few games, which was unfortunate because she'd been such an important player for us, and the goals that she scored. You don't win the league this season without those goals. We've mentioned it for KB, we've mentioned it for Georgia. Regardless of the fact she only scored 1 in the second half of the season, if Bridget isn't scoring you those 15 goals in the first half, you're not winning the league this season. The arrival of Paige kind of put a dent in the hopes of her getting into the squad, which I was a little bit disappointed by. I thought they might have been rotated a little bit more. I thought there was scope to see about them playing as a 2 perhaps. There was a couple of games when they were on the pitch at the same time. But for whatever reason, that just wasn't the way that Becky wanted to go about it. Like Lee, I really struggled with a score. I toyed between an 8 and a 9. But purely because of the goals, I'm going to go 9.
I think that's a very fair assessment of Bridget Galloway's season. Megan, that is a lot to go on. Doesn't leave a lot for you to say, does it? Not very fair, I think. So what you got to say about Bridget Galloway and what's your score?
I'm going to sum it up in one quote and say that you can't make your way to the top without stepping on an escalator first. And I think she made that step and carried us forward. And to split the season in 2 seems a bit unfair to me because she started to write our chapter right from the very start, and our confidence took a massive knock. And although that cost her coming out of the side, she didn't give up when she came on. She was running, she was making the passes and helping the team. And yes, she didn't put the ball on the back of the net, but in terms of what we were saying before about Hannah Greenwood, she's one of those players that you have to look at off the ball. And if you see her, she creates runs for the players who are finding the net. And I think that's her way of building her confidence back up. And she certainly didn't contribute as much as she did in the first half of the season, but she still contributed in a way that was still lifted the trophy, and I think that's a positive aspect of her personality.
Can I put in as well? Can you just give me that quote one more time?
You can't make your way to the top without stepping on an escalator. I think.
That's my Facebook bio later on tonight. I'm going to
Don't know
stick that in little quote bit, and then I'm going to put your name.
I like Bridget, just positive. It just popped into my head, but yeah.
10. That is 10. 10. That is very, very, very nice. At that, when you done that as well, Liam praised Megan for her quote there. I saw Causey's face starting to think, and he was like, right, how do I take the quote off Megan before she starts?
I'm sorry, I'm a one-liner. That's all I've got.
Hey, it worked, and it was a brilliant line at that. It was. So the average on that one, Causey?
What did you score that, Joe?
I scored Bridget a 9.
You went 9. I believe, therefore, that is an average of 9.
Oh, very fair, very fair. I like that. I think that's all right for Bridget Galloway, especially for the way the second half of the season went for her. So then moving on to one who we very quickly got a song for, and we very quickly, just the same as Bridget, as soon as she started, she hit the ground running. Bailey Gale. Bailey Gale. Megan, does she get the ball and score a goal? Bailey Gale, what is your score?
She does. She really does. I think she's another one who's not shy in coming forward. Our link-up plays just clash. She's just smooth with it as well. Yeah, she doesn't find the net as frequent, but she hasn't been given a lot of time. So I think she's going to be, again, I think she was one of those players that was signed with an outlook to promotion. And I think that's when she'll start to contribute. But I hope it's not at the sacrifice of Bridget Galloway, because I think they both contribute in positive ways. But when Paige Bailey Gale does get on the pitch, it does make a hell of a difference. In terms of this season, I would give her an 8 in terms of her contribution. She hasn't had that long, but it's been a lasting impact, a memorable impact, so I would give her an 8.
I like that. She's definitely been someone who you notice. Lee, what are you seeing about Paige Bailey Gale? Do you think she's had the impact that we wanted?
I think so. It's not the impact that Bridget had when she first signed. No, because Bridget was just bang, bang, bang. Like, what the hell is this? Who's this? But, she scored a couple on her debut, scored another one. I think she scored another one. Had a couple of games missing. Bangs in hat-trick. So, I mean, that's scored like, I don't know what the stats are, because you might have them in front of it, but something like 7 goals in something like 12 games or something along those lines. I might be wrong on that.
Hang on, 7 and 12.
Oh, that was... Give me that award. That's more than 1 and 2. So if you stretch that, that's 14-24. Hey, I'm good.
Ooh.
So I'll go 8 because of the half season.
Yeah.
I think she can still improve her game. Don't get me wrong. The problem that I think that we've got is that for whatever reason, Becky's seen Bridget score goals and goals and goals, brought Paige in, and I don't think that central striker is fixed yet. I think there will be another signing for that unless you move Beth Lumsden, which we are coming to the right wingers because I've missed them off. But yeah, an 8.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Causey, finally on Bailey Gale, finish up. How's that feeling for Bailey Gale in this half season?
I was a little bit confused when we signed her because of how well Bridget had done in the first half of the season. And I wonder if there was an element of, we've moved Katie Barker out left, Becky Ferguson's injured. I wonder if there was an element of bringing her in as back up to Bridget as first, but that didn't seem to be the case. It seemed to be that she went straight in and she was the preferred option for the second half of the season. 7 goals in 12 games, as Lee said, that's a great return, to be fair. Not quite as great as Bridget seemed to hit the ground running, but I think that's still a good return. She's a very different type of striker to Bridget. I don't think she does the pressing and has that intensity that what Bridget has. Megan mentioned it's the work that Bridget does off the ball. I think Paige is very much a focal point where you get the ball to her and she'll just put the ball in the back of the net. I don't think she'll do the running and the dropping off that Bridget does. I think if I was to compare them over the whole of the season, I think Bridget is the better striker. I think Bridget's had the better season. So on that basis, I'm going to give Paige an 8.
Okay. Now, when you're saying that as well, I realise I don't think I give you a score either, did I, Causey?
No, I don't think you did.
Well, I do agree with Causey as well. I give Paige Bailey-Gale an 8, simply a lot of the same reasons. I don't think she's had quite the impact off the ball. And obviously, as I spoke about a ton here, I love the off-the-ball play from players. Paige Bailey-Gale, as you can see in the bottom there, guys, a straight 8. Now, I am going to pass this back across to Lee to finish off chucking in the last couple of players. While he does that and gets us started, I'm going to have to quickly run because I am sweating crazy here because we have an issue with our boiler and it is switching the heating on at random times. It is not good right now when I'm sitting trying to do this, already nervous. See, Megan, I get nervous, and I am like really dying to just take this top off, but I don't want to get Causey too excited on stream. So give me 2 seconds and I will be right back.
That is fine. Go and sort your boiler out. We'll start with. I think we'll all agree this might be a non-applicable for Erin Nelson, who seems to be forgotten about by a lot of fans. To be honest with you, she's in fair play. She goes to the games as well, so I think it's obvious that will score a non-applicable. But injuries, and that's the thing. And it was talked about this in this podcast. A couple of people already suffering from injuries, and Causey, I'll come to you, and it kills your season, doesn't it?
It really does. And I think the season was looking promising for her as well because she had multiple injuries last season as well, but she was obviously very highly thought of. She wasn't let go. She was retained. She played in pre-season. She actually started that first game of the season at home to Burnley in the Cup. And that was her only appearance. And when you brought in the likes of Tyler Dodds and later on in the season, Beth Lumsden, you do worry about where her place might lie in the team, but the fact that she's still there, we were down in Redditch for the last game of the season, and she was there taking part in the warm up, and she looked like she'd never been away. She looked incredibly sharp. It was a shame that she wasn't on the bench to be able to come and get a few minutes under her belt for one final time this season. I think you're right. You can't
Sorry,
score
there
the
is a
wrong one.
comment that
You've
we're laughing at. Me
obviously
and
got
Megan have seen it, so
yeah, you can't score her on that one appearance. But I'm a big fan, and I really hope she can get some game time over pre-season and next season as well.
yeah. Megan, do you echo that?
Yeah, I guess you could kind of look at it in a way as the club have acknowledged that she has an injury, but given her something to focus on in terms of fighting for her spot. Yes, they've signed other players, but it gives her a bit of competition, a bit of focus to then get back onto the starting lineup herself. So hopefully she sees it in that way because she looked like she could make waves in the game.
Joe, we've been talking about Erin Nelson. The season just derailed one game at the start of the season. She played with the Devs as well, didn't she? I remember going and watching their final
Last
against
season, yeah.
Portsmouth, and it was like such a strong side. You had McQuaid, you had Erin Nelson playing, you had Shauna, there's a quite 3 or 4. First
Jazz was playing as well, wasn't she?
yeah, she was. Yeah, quite a few that like playing. I think Jess Spark was playing, but I've got on a tangent. Sorry, Erin Nelson. It's a shame, innit? We scored a
A very,
non-applicable.
very much as well. Definitely agree with non-applicable. She's a player who you look at her and she's another one who bleeds a lot of black and white. I follow Erin over on Instagram and she's such a positive person who's been dealing with a lot of her own issues. As you say, James just mentioning right there, doing an article about a Red S on the NUFC website and coming out and talking about things like that. I think she's a great role model. She's young. She's got potential. And she's got the positivity. I would like to see her stay around, even if she has to go into the Devs next season. I would like to see Erin stay. She is certainly someone who helps push this team upwards. I would say that, yes, but non-applicable. Definitely agreed. Sadly, seeing what happened to her this season.
Still young, so young as well.
Yeah.
Which a lot of these lasses are. We'll come on. I'm going to leave Anna Salisbury for last, just for Joe. But we'll go to Tyler Dodds, and Megan, I'll let you have your say on Tyler Dodds.
I liked Tyler Dodds' instant impact. The moment she crossed over the touchline, and it felt like she started less games than she did come on as a sub. But when she did come on, she was capable of pinging the ball in from distance, whether that be free kicks or spreading the play. She just seemed so confident. I think Beth Lumsden being in the side kept her out, but gave her some sort of competition. And I don't think she'll let that phase her. I think she's had quite a big impact on as to what we've achieved at the end of the season. And the support from her family in the stands is second to none. And I think she heard that and felt that, and that's what pushed her on to achieve good things this season. She's a good player.
what are you scoring her? I think she got over 20 odd assists. No pressure, like.
I'm gonna give. I feel like I've thrown these out, but she's another one that deserves a 10. I was gonna give her a 9, but she's had too much of an influence to ignore her.
So many assists. Cozy, I'll come to you. You mentioned obviously the influence. Your daughter is heavily influenced by Tyler, so she's impacted your daughter.
Yeah, massively. Tyler's debut away in Norton in pre-season. Didn't know a lot about her. I knew she came from Sunderland, but didn't know much about her style of play. And Rosie turned around within minutes of her getting on that pitch and was just like, who's that new player? She's fantastic. She was quick. She had a hell of a delivery on her. The crosses were just pinpoint accurate every single time, right foot, left foot. And Rosie was in awe. And as many people have seen, she got Dodd 7 on the back of her shirt. She goes to the games with her blue hairband on, mimicking Tyler. And that's what it's all about as well. I know as much as what they do on the pitch in terms of getting results and promotion, but the influence that these players have on young boys and girls in the stands, and it's just incredible. And my daughter has more than had a part in that. In terms of what she's brought to the team, I think I counted at least 15 assists, but it's so hard to get the assists information, trying to troll back through the match reports and the footage and things like that. But it's at least 15 that she's got this season, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's over 20. Here's a stat for you as well. Tyler has played more games than anybody else this season.
Wow, has she missed any?
She's missed one game for illness, which was Stoke away.
Yeah.
She started 18, came on in another 13, so she played in 31 of the 32 games this season.
Just class.
Only Bridget tied with her. But I mean, when you look at that, she's been reliable. She's been called upon. She's got a right foot. She's got a left foot. She started contributing with goals in the second half of the season as well. And I just think that assist amount, whether it's 15, 20, whatever it turns out to be, I think that's an incredible return for someone in their debut season as well. Another player who bleeds black and white was a childhood Newcastle fan. I was torn between a 9 or a 10, but for the sheer impact of the assist this season and the impact she's had on Rosie, I'm going to give her a 10.
Wow, 2 10s. I feel like I'm going to be bad. I can score a 9.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I think that's still incredibly high, a 9. I think, again, it's quite similar to Bridget, first half of the season, 10 out of 10. And you do say there, Cozy, obviously she's just chipping in with goals, when funny enough she started to lose players when Beth was coming in. But, you know, the goal against Fell, which cuts in, just pings it left foot, showing that's just 2 foot. The goal recently as well against Redditch, I mean, for me, that's a content of a goal of the season. Unbelievable. And happy face. And obviously, when I'll now Julie, who attends the games, encouragement from her, which is great to see. And I like the fact, right, gets a ball, what can I do? I'm going to cross it. It's simple, but it's so effective. You look at Newcastle, like Nobby Solano down the years. Didn't have all the pace in the world. Tyler's got a bit more pace. But just whip it in. And it's so impactful. It's simple, but it works. Whereas, obviously, Beth's a little bit different. So, I'll score her a 9 for the impact over the course of the season. And I actually think she didn't deserve to lose her place. So although Beth's been brilliant, and I don't know if there's any falling out or anything like that, but some first half performance for me, it's a 9 out of 10. Joe?
I am trying to look there because I did get a stat sheet on the last home game of the season, and I can't see our exact assists right now. Wait, no, I've got them. So 7, 2, 3, 12. 7 plus 2 is 9, plus 3 is
12.
Thanks a lot. 12 plus another 12. That equals 24 assists over the season without counting the last away games. If she got one in one of them away games, which she wouldn't have at Halifax, if she got one in the West Brom game, then that would add her up to 25.
I don't believe she got one at West Brom. I think it was just a goal.
Just a goal.
Just a goal.
Just a goal. So just the 24 assists this season.
Yeah, she didn't score that much of an amazing goal. Quite honestly, I want to discuss this in a future podcast, but goal of the season, I think that between it is between Tyler Dodds' goal at West Brom and between Hannah Greenwood's header against Wolves. It was like an Alan Shearer one.
Katie Parker
Fantastic.
said that's better, man.
It is not. It is not.
It
We'll
is,
get into that argument at some point in the future, Lee, that it's going to have to happen. But back onto the one and only Tyler Dodds, who, thanks a lot, lads, in the chat, but I was putting my white hairband on in respect to Tyler Dodds, but I'm going to take that off because of who you see I look like. Anyways, Tyler Dodds has been an absolute wonder winger this season. She can carry the ball, she can receive the ball, she can ping a corner, she can ping things from anywhere and get it straight into that box and straight onto someone's head. I think she is fantastic. Obviously, age is a factor. I get that. Massive respect for her being a singer as well, Taylor Swift. I'm going to give Tyler a 9. Now, I did have her as a 9.5. Obviously, we can't do 0.5 as I keep mentioning. Do you think I've got a sour grape about what I
Yes.
do? But yes, I'm going to rate her a 9 simply because of her getting pushed out of her position and not getting as much service as she should have. Do I agree with that? No, I don't. I think Tyler should have stayed in that position the majority of the season and only being brought off when she was having a hard game in replacement for Beth Lumsden. Again, you can't knock Beth Lumsden, but Tyler has been absolutely phenomenal. Without Tyler, you think 24, 25 assists over the season. Does Bridget really get as many goals as she did? Does Katie and Georgia get as many goals as they did? Probably not. 9 for me from Tyler.
What's the average there? 9.5?
That's a 9.5, yes.
Fair.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. For considering she lost the players, someone to score that high is impressive. That is really impressive. Beth Lumsden, I'll start with her since we kind of mentioned her a little bit. A totally different player. Predominantly a right winger. She has been moved. I think she played a 10 in one of the games. That was Stourbridge, I think. She had one or two on the left, but not as much. I actually thought she was signed as a striker because when I seen her stats, I thought, oh, she scores goals. Yeah, she's going to play up front, and she might next season. You don't know yet, but both footed, bit like Tyler, totally different. Likes to come in, scores goals, can take on a player as well. I think her impact has been good. I think Matt scored. Did she say it was her half season player of the year? I'm sure Matt did. I might be wrong on that. I'm going to score a 9 because I think her impact has also been good as well. I think she's impressed. So a 9 for me. But I'll come on to Joe.
Beth Lumsden. Correct as if I'm wrong, Colsey, or of course Matt will at a later date. 14 goals and 15 for Portsmouth in the first half of the season. Is that correct?
Something like
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and then she comes over to us and she scores how many for us, Colsey?
I think she scored 3 for us.
Putting them to the test, guys. You know you love to see it.
But what's she playing as a striker for Portsmouth? She must have been.
I think she was playing as a forward, part of a 2 setup, I believe.
Explains the goals.
But yes, Beth Lumsden are unbelievable. I think personally, alongside Katie Barker, she has become our flashiest player. You often see Beth catch the ball and she'll flick it around her heels. She'll do a bit of the saint-maximin dancing over the ball and then take it around one defender, take it around another defender and ping it over for someone to get it in the back of the net. Do I think we've seen enough of that to give her a strong 10? No. Am I giving her a 9? No, I'm going to stick with giving her an 8. That might sound harsh, but I just don't think we've seen enough of Beth Lumsden yet. I think eventually next season we are going to see an absolute wonder player, and there is going to be moments where we are screaming and doing the whole, oh my God, did you see I do that rainbow flick there? Oh my goodness, that was amazing. Oh, did you see the skill on that goal before she shoots it? I think she is going to be really, really crucial and amazing next season. 8 for this season, though.
Meg? 1?
I think a battling rate has been memorable this season. I've never seen someone who's less afraid to put a boot in than her. And coming from a club who Portsmouth is achieving quite highly, well, I say that understatement, in their league. So to make the switch when we weren't quite certain, I think when she signed, we were in the 3-horse race really between us, Nottingham Forest and Burnley, and she then made the switch. For what reason, we'll never know, but that's clearly had an impact on her. to give her some fight, and she's done well enough in that short space of time to unfortunately knock someone as inspirational as Tyler Dodds out of the lineup. So for that reason, obviously, I have to score her highly. I feel like I have to. It would have to be an 8. I've never seen someone who's off the ball play is as strong as that on the ball play. She means every tackle she slides into. So for me, that's an 8.
8. Cozy?
Is that 8 all round so far, is it?
No, I scored at 9.
You scored a 9. So for me, Beth Lumsden, I think, is arguably the hardest player on our team. The amount of times that she gets hacked down, I watched her take a ball to the face from close distance. I think it was Burnley away. And you share the impact, and she just gets straight back up. Nothing seems to faze her. She's an incredibly tough player. And I think it says a lot that she was able to dislodge Tyler from that team. Tyler was so effective, as we've said, at goal contributions. And I think it was after Tyler's first goal against Halifax that she found herself dropped in favour of Beth the next game, which was a bit of a strange one because she's finally got off the mark and she finds herself on the bench. But credit to Beth because she's came in and she's had an incredible contribution to the team. 3 goals, I think it is, in 11 or 12 games. I think disappointment, obviously she was cup tied from playing in the League Cup down at Portsmouth. I think maybe a player like that could have made an impact in that cup final when you're just looking for something different. But I think she's been a hell of an impact player for us. Joe will also remember the very short-lived Lumsden's baggy top chant as well.
Yes.
Lumsden's baggy top away to Stoke, I think it was.
Yes, it was. Yes.
But for me, I'm going to score Lumsden a 9.
Nice one. What's the average there?
Go on, Cozy. Average.
What was it? 2 9s and 2 8s?
Yeah.
What did it do? 8.5.
Just to jump on something Cozy said there, right? Toughest player on the squad. Then imagine it. I'm going to bill it really amazing. Friday night, the lights are on. It's a charity match, and it's Jodie Bartle.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
Beth Lumsden in a boxing match. Winner takes all. That is a match. Them two are going for a slobber knocker. Them two, they are nails.
Fair enough. I just thought you were going to carry on.
No, that's it. Just billing the best fight. That should be WrestleMania's main event next year.
Joe's lying in bed tonight going, I wonder who would win a fight between and Jodie.
Never mind then, I'm doing it now. I'm like, message Jodie, how will you start a fight with Beth, please?
And we are at the final one. We have finally got there. We knew this would be a long podcast. If you're still watching, credit to you. If you're still listening, fair play to you. We're all knackered.
I'm never going to get up for 5:30 tomorrow. Never mind.
We're on the last one. Anna Soulsby. Joe, I'll come to you last because I know you'll probably want the last word. He's going to get emotional. I know you will. The life and heartbeat of Newcastle United. There's a supporter playing there in a shirt. A proper supporter. She's mad, she's wild, she's crackers, she's passionate. I think since coming back from her injury, I think the last 18 months has just been a learning experience for her. And to be fair, when she has played, she's chipped in a few goals here and there. Didn't get enough game time, let's be honest. I think she probably could do with a lot more. Predominantly a right winger, occasionally on the left. I know she scored a couple of goals at Gateshead. Joe, you'll have to say that out loud.
Shut up, Pete. Shut up, Peter.
So, that's in the comments for those that are listening.
He said nothing. He's supporting you.
I'm going to score an 8. I'll score an 8. She's not a 9 or a 10 for me. She's a decent impact, and I felt for it at some times where you can only name 5 on the bench because she was there. She was there with the squad, and she's probably the next one if there was something to happen. But I'll score around 8. Cozy, I'll come to you.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment of Anna. Incredibly popular player. I think not just amongst the fans, but amongst the squad itself as well. I seem to recall a video, I think it was in the build-up to the cup final, where they were saying that like Anna's like the naughty school kid, and everyone just loves her, but she's just like the naughty school kid, always getting up to mischief and stuff like that. It was an incredibly cruel injury she had, and she got it at a time where the club wasn't full time, the club wasn't professional, so the support wasn't there for the girls to get their operations in quickly. So she had to wait to get it on the NHS, and it was a long road to recovery for Anna, 18 months out or whatever it may have been. But she came back with a bang, and she played a big part at the end of last season. She was often preferred on the wing by Becky, and then she's been more of an impact player this time around. You know, she hasn't played a lot of games. She started in the cup. She's came off the bench, and I think you're right, Lee. I think the 5 substitutes rule has hampered that to an extent, because she probably would have been that 6 or 7 sub named if she could have been. But I think she's a fantastic personality, a brilliant player, but not quite at that 9 or 10. So I'm going to agree with you, and I'm going to say an 8. And before you move on, I'm agreeing with Pete. It's
No,
Anna's
of course you know. You've seen the evidence.
followed by a round of Soulsby's.
I save the best to last,
I agree with Dan. Megan, what can you say about Anna?
I think Anna is testament to the times when the women's team weren't acknowledged at all and should have been. She persevered. She didn't give up. And now she's got this carefree, laid-back attitude, but the ability to show that it still means so much. So we might see it as in the 5 substitutes as a hindrance to her, but for her, it's an achievement to actually be there. That's how much it means. Yes, she would want to be more regular on the pitch, but she's still making that difference, and I think that is character in itself. And in terms of a crazy side, which I have heard about on her Instagram at the minute, her brother has actually just bought a boat, and they were going up the quayside on Newcastle today of all things.
That's so Anna, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think she is a character you would want around, and a character we need around, both at the same time.
I think she'll also give you her everything if you needed it.
And she does, yeah. She leaves it on the pitch. That's what she does. She is like Georgia Gibson in that way. They're both passionate, and I think they're both proud to pull on the shirt, and it shows. But yeah, I would give her a 10. Definitely.
Wow, a 10.
Yeah, I like Georgia, and I like Anna's attitude. They're really positive.
Yeah, we'll mention I'll let Joe mention, because James has mentioned a clothing label. Joe, it's all yours. Tell her about the clothing label. Tell her how you feel about Anna.
Where do I begin? Causey started it perfect. I met Anna when she was going through that injury at the time, and she was still so positive about wanting to get back in the team. Although one thing about Anna, you can tell when she's in a bad mood. You can tell when she's disappointed in either herself or our opportunities given. I'm going to say it straight out, chat, and I don't care if Becky and Andy want to give me a slap the next time they see us, but I think Anna should have had so many more opportunities this season. I think it's one mistake that we made this season. Yes, I get it. We've still done what we need to do, but it was like I was sat there at hashtag he's mentioning it, and you don't bring Anna Soulsby on, a player who would literally go out there and bleed to get that. I could imagine Anna Soulsby doing the exact same Alan Shearer look. Remember, round the head,
blood. Yeah.
And Anna is out there still bleeding, putting that all in. I think if she had a bigger impact or started at hashtag, you would have seen us take that victory down at hashtag from Anna Soulsby scoring the winner. However, she has dedication to herself massively. She has just started on her own clothing line, Ecstatica Garms. Please get it checked out. It is absolutely phenomenal. It is amazing. On the pitch, Anna has work rate that is, and some people are probably going to disagree with us, but I'm straight up with it. It is second only to Hannah Greenwood. That is the only person who has a stronger work rate than Anna Soulsby. And the reason why people would disagree is because you haven't seen enough of Anna on the pitch. This isn't going to say that I'm going to go out and give Anna a 10 out of 10, because if I honestly wanted to put all my bias in, Anna would be getting a 20 out of 10 because of how much I appreciate her. She is the life and soul of the party. She's the life and soul of that team. She is absolutely phenomenal. You saw it at the end of the season at the West Brom game. Tears. I hope that doesn't mean what I think a lot of women think it means, but I really, really, really want to see Anna, even at a young age, if she does have to leave this team, judging on her reaction from that West Brom game, if she did have to leave this team, I want to see her back. I want to see Anna do something in Newcastle United, and I think she has got that ability in her. She went off and started working on her own. She started getting private lessons outside of the club to make sure she was better, to make sure she wanted to be as good. And I know a few of them did. I get that. And I put her all in. And I think if we had 6 or 7 substitutes allowed, you would have seen more of Anna Soulsby. That said, going forward, moving on, is there a couple of times where Anna's come on the pitch and Anna's going to knock me out if she sees us, and I'm meant to be seeing her soon enough to do an interview, but is there a couple of times where she came on the pitch and she maybe didn't give her best showing? Yes. I hate saying that, but yes, it's true. That is the case. And she would be the first one probably to tell you on the way off the pitch as well. Oh, I could have done better, mate. I get it. So on that reason alone, and because of time not given, I am giving Anna an 8. I would love to sit here and give her a 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, but I just think she deserved and should have had more game time this season. What a player. I hope that we retain Anna Soulsby going forward, and if we do not retain Anna Soulsby going forward, I want to see her back in a black and white top, and if that doesn't happen, it will be the biggest heartbreak I've ever had for Newcastle United as a whole. I absolutely adore her, and Pete, Causey, I done it first. I don't care if I'm fighting against kids. Soulsby's baggy top, Anna's baggy top.
I like how you went diplomatic there. What was the average there?
Megan scored 10, is that right?
Yeah.
I did, yeah.
8.5.
8.5 for Anna Soulsby. Joe, well said. I know you were going to be passionate, so I thought I'll leave that last for you. But Anna Soulsby gets an 8.5. I think it's all unanimous. If we had to score Becky to 10, 10, 10, I think that's pretty unanimous. But this isn't about the coach and staff or anything like that. So that leaves only, as far as I can see, I'm just scrolling up, one player that got a 10 off everybody. From what I can see. Charlotte Potts was 9.75. Tyler Dodd's 9.5. 9.25 for Emma Kelly, 9.5 for Amber Keegan-Stobbs, Georgia Gibson 9.5, Katie Barker 9.75, but it's Liv Watt. We've all scored Liv Watt a 10 out of 10. It would have been Potsy, but she was close, and so was Katie Barker, but Liv Watt as our player of the season. Everybody, if you disagree, well, let me know in the comments. If you listen on the audio podcast, give us a 5-star. Where can everybody find Megan? Where can everyone find you? Where do they go?
Instagram, Facebook, The Fan in the Stands. Available public on both.
Spot on. Causey, I know there's a joke in here. Where can people find you? On a bus?
On a bus somewhere. The number one from the city centre to Coach Lane. There's a joke for Jamie, Dan and Joe.
Yeah.
At Causey TM on Twitter and Causey89 on Instagram.
Cheers. Joe, do you want to plug yourself or NFTV or what?
NFTV, at Kenja NFTV, at Kenja7981, or if you want, just walk about in Howden and Wallsend and eventually you'll hear us somewhere, no doubt about it.
Two.
Yeah, it will be. I hope you've enjoyed it. We always knew that the first 1 or 2 podcasts were going to be long because every player we've got the season review coming up as well. That's long as well, and then we'll try and trim it down. We'll get this on a regular basis, and I'll take a step away from presenting and hopefully run it while Joe learned the ropes and get Causey and get other people on. If you haven't gone and checked the Facebook group out, please do. You'll see a lot of people. Megan's laughing at a comment. I'll need to bring it up.
I'm laughing as well. Megan was having with James. James, if we had to rate you, James, you have been amazing this stream. Some of your comments have been phenomenal. Absolutely class, mate.
He's
James,
following along. He's never stopped.
But people that are listening, Joe has got a comment from James Kirkham. Says Joe can be found outside his front door collecting a mug of coffee. I think he's using the boiler to heat it up. He's got the boiler, just getting the fresh. Literally. But yeah, available on all podcasts. I hope you've enjoyed it. But please get yourself on the Facebook group. We're going to get lots of different fans who are regulars who are there as well. We'll mix it up every so often. Of course we will. But I hope everybody has enjoyed it watching live on Twitch, YouTube as well. So thank you very much, everyone. Good night.